All right, all right, all right. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. I almost say Comic Book Corner 2.0 because I was looking at my name. So when I said it, I was like, oh, wait a second. I'm actually not doing a video for me. We're doing Comic Book Weekly. But yes, guys, we're going to have a great show for you today. Have Kat Comic Uno right next to me at the moment.
I wasn't supposed to be here, but I am
And she's
Blizzard
here.
in.
And that's why we had the show today for sure, right?
I am excited. I'll say if I can't be eating food right now, I think I'd be like I like to talk about comics. So it's at least it's a win-win for me.
Yeah, and Brant will be here. He's just running a few minutes late. That's why the show was set up at 10:15 instead of 10 o'clock tonight. But we'll make sure we'll get back on that 10 o'clock time frame so you guys are not on here too late. Definitely appreciate the new member on here as well. Much appreciated. And yeah, so this week, right, there was a ton of news that was announced. Some of it big, not so big, but definitely some talking points. So we'll definitely get into that. Just waiting for Brant to come in. But yeah, Kat was not supposed to be here. She had a huge blizzard, and she sent me the pictures of how much snow she got, and you couldn't even see the cars.
Yeah, let me see if I can have at least a car picture. I'll show you guys, but it's it's still like that too. I just buried out my car. My dog was enjoying it. She fell in the snow. All right, let me see.
How does the car even start after a blizzard like that?
We'll find out. We'll find out if it does. The last time we had like less snow than this, probably a foot less, which was a few weeks ago. My car did stop working because of how much snow. I had to jump it. And I have AAA, so it's fine, but I had to wait a whole day and I went somewhere with it. So like I went out and then it was like on a side street. And then I was like, I can't start my car. So I had to leave my car for like 5 hours. And they're like, you in a safe place? I'm like, well, I'm down the road, so I could like go to a safe place. So I had to like
I could go to a safe
I could
place.
go somewhere, but yeah, I had to like jumpstart my car because I have a hybrid too. So that's even worse, right? Like if you have a regular engine, I'm sure it's a little bit easier, but with the hybrids, they're a little harder. But I save on gas when it's not snowing. Mike Manhattan says, I live in Maryland, very close to DC. We got a little bit of snow and it melted within a day. I'm so jealous. We got the most snow, I think, in New York. We got close to like some places in Long Island, but we got like 2 feet of snow and it's going to snow more. So that's going to be crazy. So I've been really dealing with the blizzard. I'm jealous of Mike. I'm jealous of Brant. I'm jealous of whoever has sun.
We just got the cold weather from that. That's what we got. So like this morning it was 32 degrees. And then right now it's about 45 outside, but it's still, I'm in this garage, so it is pretty chilly. I got my Marvel blanket on me right here because it is pretty cold in here. So, but yeah, man, it's tough. I feel for you. I couldn't survive in that. Like, dude, I could not survive in that. I probably would fall on my face. I would crash my car. Like there would be I'd never dealt with it. I've never even seen real snow except on TV before.
That's crazy. My friend Amy too is just like, can you send me a picture? And you did too. Like anyone who doesn't see snow is like, can you send a picture? Like, what does the snow look like? I'm like, it's nice for a day. And then you come back to it, it's all black and icy. So I'm like, you get like a day of
using the bulldozer to pile it up and make it in piles, and it's all just nasty and sloppy. But when you sent me that picture, I was like, damn, that's just like perfectly white. And that was funny, like your dog just like sunk in there.
Lenny was very much enjoying it. She's just like, what is this? And she's seen it before, but not to that extent.
Hilarious.
But that is why I'm here, guys. And next week, I promise you, I probably won't be here because I'm going to Seattle. That'll hopefully not be as cold. And I'm going to be at Emerald City Comic Con, and I'll be in Artist Alley there. So if you're in the Emerald City Comic Con going there, I'll be at 01. So I won't be here next week, but I'm glad to be here this week to talk about comics because there was a lot of news as we talked about. Brant's here too, so I think we are going to finally jump into that news.
What's up, everybody?
All right,
so let's get into it.
Let's jump in. Let's do first let's do one that you want to talk about, Mike, which is Fall of the House of Slaughter is launching a new era for the iconic series, which is, uh Something's Killing the Children. So this is a
Right.
spin-off of Something
Yeah, it's
Killing
a
Children.
spin-off, and listen, I feel like the main title has definitely lacked as of late. There hasn't been an issue in a little while as well, and I feel like even though this is a spin-off series, this sounds like it could be kind of interesting dealing with one of the houses here. I just feel like we need something a little bit better right now from that run. So, yeah, not too much to say about it. I am intrigued. So hopefully it will be a good one.
I agree. All right, let's go to Zach Kaplan is unleashing 3 new Dark Horse series. I just wanted to talk about this because I think all of us have read Zach Kaplan series. Kill All Mortals was one of his series, but I like to see one creator really sticking with a publisher. I just thought that was really cool to see. Is like, okay, Dark Horse is giving him a real chance, like, because he's not a Scott Snyder, right? Like, he's been in the industry, but he's not like a big name. So to have the real estate to give him 3 titles really shows how much they care for his writing and what he's there to offer. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's it's always good to see, especially coming off killing all the mortals, which I think we all like those first couple of issues or so.
Mhm.
Huh.
Hopefully the other ones will be more up our alley, I guess I should say.
The book I'm looking forward to there is the Only the Savage
Yeah,
Are
same.
Left. That book looks kind of cool. The cover is great. Obviously kind of up my alley there. That's released on June 3rd. Guy's holding a gun. He's holding a crossing crossing the street sign right there, as like a shield or whatever, protecting him against that big beast. So I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Dark Horse has been coming out with a few better titles
Yeah,
in the past couple years.
yeah, agreed.
All right. Speaking of Dark Horse, we have Dark Horse partnering with Terry Moore, one of my favorite people, and he's doing a new imprint with Dark Horse. So the things that he was doing through Diamond by himself, he is going to do through Dark Horse, which I think is a cool opportunity just for people to read more Terry Moore stuff. He's a great creator, artist, and writer, and maybe this will give an opportunity if people somehow have missed his work can read, especially newer readers. Like, I think a lot of people that have been in comics for a very long time know who he is, especially if you've been reading comics since like the 90s. But I'm sure there's people who've been reading like Absolute Batman and just getting into comics who's gonna find his stuff.
Yeah, this will be Strangers in Paradise for a whole new generation
Mhm.
of reader, which is really cool because it is he does put out some fantastic, or he has put out some fantastic work in the past. So I'm excited that other people get to discover it. Yeah.
Right. Let's do Jonathan Hickman actually continuing the Dark Horse conversation. Jonathan Hickman did the 3 World, 3 Moon stuff through Substack. Hadn't really heard about it since, and now he is republishing that through Dark Horse. Now, a reminder: this is Mike Del Mundo, Mike Huddleston, and Nick Spencer is part of this. So now we're finally getting this book again that I don't know if made as many waves digitally to maybe find a direct market audience. I check out the first issue. I don't know if it's my thing. It looks very spacey, but I might check out the first issue. Right. So let's get into, let's see. Let's do Ben 10 is returning the comics in May, and this is from the creator of Ben 10, which I believe is Joe Kelly. Let me see. It is, yeah, Joe Kelly. So the person who's been writing Spider-Man is going to return with Ben 10, which I liked Ben 10 growing up. I think it's a fun show, so I'll read it. But I will also say there hasn't been any Dynamite comics that I think has made enough of a push for me to want to continue. They all feel like lost episodes, so it doesn't feel like continuity like some of these other books. So I'm curious if that's going to change with something like Ben 10, because the only other ones maybe Gargoyles, which is I'm not reading, that might be a little bit more continuous. But when I was reading like Powerpuff Girls and Lilo and Stitch and things like that, they were definitely more like, here's a random kind of fun adventure.
When it comes, oh,
yeah,
go ahead, bro.
No, go ahead, Mike. You're probably going to
when it came to like some of the other properties that you don't read, they're more continuous series, Cat.
Yeah,
so,
I figure.
Like Space Ghost and like I would say Thunder
Flash
the Barbarian.
Well, all
Flash
those,
Gordon, yeah.
but all those are Mad Cave, not Dynamite.
No,
right?
Space Ghost and Space Ghost is Dynamite. Yeah,
No,
sure.
You know what?
Yes, it
Space
is.
Ghost is Dynamite. So what is
Thunder
Speed Racer is Mad Cave. What David proposed also writes. And Flash Gordon is
Mad. Yeah, that might be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. But
okay, so Space Ghost. That sounds good that they at least are doing more continuous stuff with that.
Yeah, Space Ghost and Thunder are Dynamite. But yeah.
Yeah, and then like Thundercats, Silverhawks, those are ongoings and continuous series as well.
Correction is Joe Casey, not Joe Kelly. Interestingly enough, I want to look at the article because I saw Joe Kelly's name in there about Spider-Man. Let me see. Yeah, Joe Kelly's name's in here for some reason. Franchise original creators reunited for the new series. Joe Casey, Joe Kelly began their careers in comics. That's so weird. So Joe Kelly's I guess not involved in this series, but he's somehow involved in this article. So Joe Casey and Joe Kelly are involved here somehow. If you guys have an inkling of why, let me know. But I'm seeing something here in this article that Joe Kelly's name, but Joe Casey is writing it. So thank you for the correction. But go on with the Dynamite stuff. So you guys were saying Thunder. What other series that you guys really like? Joe Kelly is a co-creator.
Oh, okay. No, just Space Ghost and Thundercats. I think Mike mentioned those are continuous series, and Space Ghost is the only one that I'm really like. I mean, Thunder has only had one issue, so it's kind of hard to say. But Thundercats is one I kind of fell off of. But at the beginning, it was really strong, and it wasn't. You didn't have to like. It didn't feel like lost episodes like some of those other ones that you were describing, but I did get that feeling from like Gargoyles and
stuff. When it comes to Ben 10, though, I think it's cool because I think this is a series or a cartoon series that was released for obviously like a younger generation. So for them to come out with a comic book, I think it's good because it gets comic books into just a younger people than like say me and Brant.
Yeah, it's definitely my generation. It's weird to say that now because now it's like, oh yeah, my generations are like 30 upper 20s. So
yeah, but
I don't know.
But still,
you still want those
good,
people.
Though. Yeah, you want those people. That's what you want. It's like that's nostalgia for that age group, for that generation. It's like, oh, dude, I remember Ben 10. I'm gonna pick that up.
And that is cool because like you guys have been talking about with like Transformers and G.I. Joe. I didn't grow up with that kind of in any way. Like our generation really specifically skipped Transformers. Like anyone I talked to, and G.I. Joe. I was telling you guys a story last week where like I had a friend who's the same age as me who's like, so G.I. Joe's not one character. Like we're just like not in that generation. But yeah, Ben 10, obviously we will, or like Avatar: The Last Airbender and stuff like that. So
it's kind of funny because Transformers in many ways has had many different iterations of cartoons, and then it ran into the movies, so it's
which were so different though because of the Shia LaBeouf stuff.
I think Transformers is easier to translate to different generations and different types of content and all that stuff than some of the other ones like G.I. Joe. It's not every generation wants a military kind of unit. You know what I mean? It's just, I think that's why Transformers has had more longevity in that way. But I'm glad to see all these properties come back because they are some really cool concepts that, under the right creators can be really magical. So.
Yeah, you can write a ton of stories with that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. All right, let's get into our next topic here, which is let's talk about skateboarding is outlawed with the new series Skate Ollie, I guess like a Ollie Oop. And this is with Kelly Suchikonic and Sam Humphries. The reason I want to talk about it, I do really love Sam Humphries' writing, and it's cool to see Kelly Sue DeConnick back. But honestly, it's just interesting to see another skating book after the what was it called, grommets. So it's just like, oh, like this is going to be a very different book, and it's interesting to see like that culture get into comics so much again. So, but it also, again, it just looks very different than grommets is going to be. So I'm curious, like, what audience this is going to bring.
Clicked on it. I didn't see this. I didn't see
Right?
this article before,
Very different.
so I was like, okay, that's a funny picture right there.
Yeah.
She's a skater girl.
Yeah,
Skater girl in a skater world.
Right.
It's just Avril Lavigne's song over and over again. There's some good covers here, though. I was looking at the bottom. I'm like, oh, there's some really good covers.
Yeah, there are some pretty covers.
Yeah, but I'll check it out. I said, I like Sam Humphries, so
yeah, I might check it out.
All right, let's get into. I try and do all the indie stuff first, and then we'll go into more of the Marvel DC. Robert Kirkman and Cory Walker reunite for a new Invincible story with Elemental, which is a new character, and this is going to continue in Capes. So if you've been reading Capes, that has kind of been a reprint, but now it's going to go into new stories. This is where it's at. I personally haven't really gotten into Capes. It wasn't my thing, but it's cool that they're doing new stories now with obviously the original artists as well.
Yeah,
that's cool. I didn't have too much to say because it's just like it's in backup stories and they're releasing it, so I'm not that excited about it. But yeah, that's about it.
I mean, Capes with that issue, it's going to be brand new content.
Yeah, that's going to be new stuff. It's going to be new material.
So, I've been reading it, so and it's dated. It's very dated right now, but I'm hoping with the new content that it'll be I don't know. I don't know what I'm hoping, but I'm looking forward to it all the same. There's a picture of Elemental.
It's so weird because I feel like, and actually this actually brings us to the other topic, which has to do with Robert Kirkman. He's doing another super universe called Terminal, and this is with Kubert, Finch, and Arthur Adams. And I'm a little torn on it because I feel like obviously Kirkman has really improved himself with G.I. Joe and Transformers, and then Invincible as a series. But then I see something like Capes where I'm like, it is so hard to do a superhero series. I'm just like, is this the route to go? And if I'm being honest, the artwork looked not like the form of the artwork. The artwork obviously looks good because it's Kubert, but the style is just like, okay, been there, done that. What makes this any different than any other superhero book, you know?
Well, because it's a superhero book. I mean, that's all I can say.
But if it's an indie book and not a Marvel and DC, are people willing to pick up a superhero book? Because look at Radiant Black, that did very well and then started to not do as well.
I think it's Robert Kirkman, and that's all it needs. That's all you need to see.
Now that counts for like the first couple of issues. We'll see beyond that.
Exactly.
That first issue is going to sell like gangbusters.
Yeah, no, the first issue, and I'll be picking up the first issue. I'm looking at the interiors, which I do like. I think it's a darker tone. I think it's David Finch. I'm looking at it. I think the interior artwork looks like David Finch to me, which obviously is going to be a pretty big deal. But I'm curious, again, just like what story-wise it's going to bring differently than other comic books. Hot take. I never said I don't like it. I'm just asking a question of what is going to make it different. Because if it's just Kirkman, I agree with Brant. 6 issues later, if it doesn't do anything different, then like what? Like a good example, I think, is like Geiger for you guys, and those books. Those ended up doing something very different with the tone of storytelling. It was telling like what here is it being offered. I'm also curious if it's going to be a mini series or is it going to be an ongoing?
Yeah,
and Joe Casey's on it too. So Joe Casey's on another series.
I mean, just looking at the art though, like you said, like you guys are scrolling through it, I'm looking on my other computer here and I'm like, it looks really good.
I agree.
Yeah. I think when you introduce a superhero universe, there's a way to do it, right? And so, and if there's somebody that can do it, it is Robert Kirkman. You did it with Invincible, right? And most recently we had that one book that was released by Brand, who's
Larry Hama,
Larry
the
Hama.
center holds, yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't stand that book. I couldn't stand it. Just because the way it was, there was so much. And it's just like you're almost expected to know who all these characters are, what they represented, and what is going on in that world. And I just think, like, for me, at least personally, that was too much. I don't know. What did you think of that, Brand? Because I don't think we discussed that.
Was
No,
that last week or is it this week? I think because it's this week it came out, right?
No, I think it was,
It was
last
last week?
I
Okay.
I didn't get it. I couldn't find it. Was the issue
Mm.
me or something? I don't remember. But no, I don't think we talked about it. Or you talked about it, Mike, but I couldn't talk about it. But no, once I finally got to read it, and I agree with you. It was I wasn't as bothered by the political stuff as you, just because it was just the beginning of it, and I'm
Right.
hoping that it goes beyond that, going forward. But it was very not subtle. I know I was hitting you over the head with it. But
Right.
yeah, it was throwing a lot of stuff at you and a lot of characters, without a lot of character depth until the very end of the book. Like, I think the last 3 or 4 pages is where you got all the character depth, and everything else before that was just a big fight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was just I agree with you. It was a lot thrown at you in that book.
We have some interesting comments. It's so cool to see so many different opinions on this book in particular. This one is the complete opposite of what everyone else is saying. But who the flip is Robert Kirkman? I'm not
Wow.
buying a comic because his name is on it.
Wow. Creator of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
You know The Walking Dead, you know Robert Kirkman.
Walking Dead, one of the most famous comics ever.
TV shows, yeah. Ever.
Yeah, and Invincible. I mean, obviously he's in charge of Image.
He's behind the whole Energon Universe.
Yeah, he's behind all that. There's just a lot.
He doesn't have a lot of failures either. Like, even when you think of, like, let's say Firepower, right? Like, Firepower was like one of his okay books, like, after a while. But even that was still a solid book.
Good for a long time.
Yeah.
No.
And then Battle Beast. Don't forget he's currently doing Battle Beast too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's doing a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Terminal is ongoing, by the way.
So someone in the comments said there's 18 issues in the can or something like that.
Wow.
That's crazy if that's true.
Oh, so that's you know what? That's smart though, because if that's true, that's just like, hey, we're gonna get all these issues done, and no one has to worry about books being delayed this way.
We had another comment that you guys are going to be able to answer better than I could, but someone says, I wouldn't call Geiger a superhero book. Would you guys call it a superhero book?
He's more like a anti-hero.
Yeah,
but still in the genre of superhero, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of an alternate take on superheroes. I would say it's not capes and tights kind of superhero.
Yeah.
But, like, all the characters in that universe do have some kind of superpower. It's just played down a little bit. It's more kind of casual, more down to earth kind of thing. So, but I'd still classify it as superhero, just kind of an alternative.
It's like almost like sci-fi.
Yeah, a little bit.
But interestingly enough, I feel like it's like the MCU, right? You can have sci-fi exist within superhero. So but then Redcoat, from what outside looking in, I wouldn't call that a superhero book.
Right, but he's an immortal character who
Yeah.
And there's supernatural stuff that goes on in that book and everything. So it's kind of a, I don't know.
It's also Jeff Johns, so like he's probably gonna lean into.
Even if it is a superhero book, it doesn't feel like a superhero.
Exactly. Book. It's like CrossGen, where it seemed like fantasy books, but they were basically superheroes. They all had powers and different kind of things. So it's very similar in that way, but different.
Cool. All right, let's get into. We could go into Mask. I think I know it's our main topic, but we're in the Robert Kirkman land here. Yeah. So Mask, you guys probably saw it coming, but there is a whole series coming out, and this is written by Dan Waters and art by Pi Par. So I'm take the floor. This is, as you saw in the thumbnail. I have nothing to say, but
So
This was Mike's idea, by the way.
This thumbnail was my idea. I was like, oh, we need to talk about Mask and just let Kat just roll back here. And I said, come up with a thumbnail where Kat's like rolling her eyes and we'll have her faces like with Brett and I just super excited about it.
I'll be honest, the only thing I know about Mask, obviously through you guys, I know more now, but like before G.I. Joe and all that, was that anytime I went into like the dollar bin and I got a 60 free comics, like there'd be 20 Mask comics in there. So I have a lot of Mask comics in my collection because of it, but I didn't know what it
hilarious.
was.
Do you know I've never read a Mask Marvel comic book before? Never.
I don't know that I have either.
Me either. I have a lot of them, but I've never read it.
I've never seen them at my comic shop or anything like that before. But you know, when this has obviously been building for quite some time, and we've known it. I think the first inkling of it was in the Energon Universe book back last year, where they briefly showed like Matt Tracker or whatever it was. And I was like, oh, could that be Mask? Like, is Mask actually coming to this thing?
Yeah.
And they've been building it up for so long. And I think what makes it fun and what makes like G.I. Joe and Transformers so good. And I know Void Rivals is part of it, but it's kind of a little bit off to the side. And I feel like it'll catch up eventually somewhere, somehow. But what makes it so much fun is just the buildup to all of this, right? It's like you started with Void Rivals, there was a random Transformer, then you had G.I. Joe, they found like weapons, you know, one Decepticon comes, and then it's just like, then it started filtering in Transformers. And it's just like the way they build it up is what makes it exciting. And so when it finally gets announced, you're like, oh man, because really they have hit this whole thing out of the park. And in my eyes, like every single book has been really good. Every issue is like, oh my God, I can't wait to read this. It's been so good. And I'm hoping that Mask will deliver just as well. I'm curious how it will become its own book too.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Miles Mayhem pop up in Transformers, which was another big clue, and it's like, okay, you know, we got to be going somewhere with this. But I just love the way that the connective tissue is there because of the way that the cars, we've talked about this before, the cars kind of transform, but they're not quite. So it's like G.I. Joe meets Transformers, but it's its own thing. You've got Matt Tracker now that has popped up in G.I. Joe, and all this. It's just so cool the way that they build this up and kind of sprinkled it in, and then dropped this news on us after that issue came out. It's like, oh man. But yeah, no, I'm curious to see how it comes about. Also, obviously, Matt Tracker, they're trying to find him, and all this stuff. We know Miles Mayhem has gone off to do his own thing, so I assume there's going to be, you know, some kind of revolt by Miles Mayhem that's going to bring Tracker into it because it's his tech that he stole and all this stuff. So I don't know.
And don't you
but I'm
think
excited.
Yeah. Obviously, he probably used like Energon to obviously get that tech.
That would be my
going,
guess. Yeah.
Right?
It would make sense, especially since like the government's been using, you know, Transformers for years that we didn't know about, right? So
right, and he was part of that. So it's very interesting.
Yeah,
you know, I this is great. And I'm curious. Like some people are all also like, oh, next they need to put Visionaries and they need to put Battle Beasts in there and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, well, I don't know if you could put all those properties in there, but still. The way they're doing it and the way it's connected, it seems to totally make sense. So I'm excited. I have one question for you, though.
Okay.
So we have this Quintesson war that's going on in Void Rivals.
Yeah.
If there is a book that I could possibly see ending, it could be Void Rivals.
I mean, that's like up to issue 40, right? It's a long book.
I don't think it's that high. But the thing
27, I think.
Yeah. The thing that I look at it is I feel like
30.
that was always the book that was created to kick everything off. And I feel like if Robert Kirkman has all these other things going on, maybe there is a definitive ending to that because really the Transformers are not there anymore. Of course, you got the Quintessons that are there, but what if they're the ones that survive this war? We're the ones that win the war. What if they
Oh,
beat Solilla and Darak, you know?
yeah,
And the book just ends. Like, what if the Unicron character or whatever that character comes out and the
yeah.
sacred ring is destroyed, but this was the catalyst for everything that started, you know? So I don't know. It's just a guess, but if I can see something ending, it would be that.
I never thought about it that way, but you could be right. That could be how the Quintessons come into such power. Like they already have, so much power, but that could explain a lot of things in the mythos, especially if they go that way. Like they just created Void Rivals to be like the catalyst for everything, which would be kind of interesting. If they do go that route, I would hope that we still like Derek and Solila would somehow survive. Maybe they're the transitional characters that kind of float over
Yeah.
into Cybertron or something. I don't know, but I think it would be interesting to like I don't know because we already have like GI Joe and Transformer characters mixed up in their world already, so it would make sense for there to be some kind of
Hmm.
cohesion between those. But yeah, no, I could totally see that.
Yeah,
That'd
well,
be
I mean,
interesting. Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, I still feel like there's more to learn from those characters, but
absolutely. Yeah,
it's just one of those things that popped in my head that if that's a book that has a definitive ending, I think that could be it.
yeah, I
So
could
I
see
guess
that.
And
time
also,
will
how many
tell.
books can he write? It's like
Right?
he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
writing a lot because he took over Transformers. So
Right.
he's writing Transformers, Void Rivals, Terminal, Battle Beast,
The new Cape
Skin
stuff, the
Breakers.
Skin Breaker, the new Cape stuff.
Skinbreaker was already written though.
Okay,
True.
so we'll put that to the
So that
side.
right. And then if he
Terminal
did
technically
how
is
many
too. Yeah,
But
yeah, if
he's
18
he did Terminal
supposedly.
too.
but he's also involved with the Invincible cartoon and
Yeah.
And
all
he
this other stuff.
runs Skybound.
Right. He's an image partner. I mean, it's
Right.
just he's got a lot on his plate. So I
Can
don't
only
know.
imagine.
So I guess we'll see.
Lenny
So
agrees.
we'll jump off of that topic now so Kat can get involved in the conversation.
No mass for me. But yeah, I am gonna give you one other that I don't have as much of an opinion on, but then we'll move on to something else just because it's the last indie book thing. And that's Tiny Onion reveals 3 new Exquisite Corpses series, which I mean I think makes sense because they're so popular. I mean I'm guessing he expected it, but I don't know if he expected it to this extent. And I think
Yeah.
he's not writing them. So there are different writers writing this too. So it's like other writers playing with his characters. There's Fox Mask Killer, Lone Gunman, and Rascal Randy.
Can't believe he's doing a Rascal Randy one.
Dude, Rascal Randy hasn't said a single word in this whole entire comic.
Because he
No.
needs a whole comic.
But the only thing I can say is maybe you get kind of obviously like I didn't go into reading the article. I just saw the covers and I was just like, well, if he goes into Rascal Randy, I'm like, maybe we get the story of like what he's about and where he came from.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Of those 3, the Fox Mask Killer is the one I'm most interested in.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited like to learn the backstory of that character because it feels like there's history there with that character.
Yeah.
There's history with Lone Gunman too, but depending on how the tournament goes, I don't know who that's actually going to be about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he dies. I mean, he
Right.
died already in the series. So it's kind of like it looked like he was a military person, you know?
Yeah. So it could be flashback into him, or maybe it's whoever took up at the mask. So
That's
but
true.
I would assume they're probably flashbacks, but we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe it is somebody else though. Maybe that mask is passed on from people to people. Maybe it's a lineage.
Yeah, could be.
I should also mention, because we didn't talk about it because none of us had like a huge opinion, but James Tiny and Marguerite Bennett are also teaming up to make a new horror comic called Onan. The one thing I think is interesting is, Marguerite Bennett hasn't done anything in a while. But I know they're all friends because they're part of like the Scott Snyder student crew. So that's cool that she's returning.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into, I think all that's left is, there's one more indie thing, which is TMNT issue 300 unleashes a massive new era. Don't worry, there's blind bags and a new Last Ronin. I know you guys have kind of been on and off TMNT.
So when it comes to like blind bag, this will be one that I pick up just because it's a milestone issue. I mean, I feel like these days when a book comes to 300, it's that monumental issue because it always goes to Amazing Spider-Man. So when you have like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think that's a pretty big milestone in my eyes. So I would pick that up.
Yeah.
In The Last Ronin, I might pick that up too because it deals with Michelangelo, who was the,
Right.
last Ronin there. So
Right.
that's another story.
Yeah, that one I would like be much more likely to pick up than that sequel, which I didn't live up to the original for me. But yeah, the 300th issue, it's also there's a variant covered by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird that's never been seen before,
Mhm.
which is kind of cool. J. Scott Campbell is one of the cover artists, so I'll probably try to get my hands on at least one or two myself. And I'm not a big blind bag person, but yeah, it's 300th issue, like Mike said. That's all I got to say about it. Really.
All right, let's get into some Marvel and DC. So Marvel is teasing more Armageddon stuff with great power, and then it stops. Obviously, is the Spider-Man related or not? But they're really trying. They're trying with this event. Hope it's good. We'll talk more about the Wolverine book that came out that was connected to it. So I don't know how Spider-Man's gonna be related to it, but
Spider-Man's always related to every
something
traditionally to some kind of event in the past. Now
Of course.
he's been away from events as of late when you think about it. Miles Morales was in Blood Hunt, and then
Mhm.
in Doom, I don't think Spider-Man was in that one either. And then there's been X-Men stuff, but there hasn't been a lot of Spider-Man stuff. So that's why I'm excited for actually Spider-Man's event because I don't feel like we've had anything in significance with Spider-Man as of late. So
Yeah.
whatever he does in Armageddon, hey, I'm good. I mean, listen, I'm just hoping that Armageddon will be a decent event by the time it does come around.
Yeah.
you guys have been investing a lot into it, so
I enjoy it so far.
So far, I'm enjoying it as well. I miss these teasers. There was a time where they put out teasers like this for every event under the sun, and there was just like endless teasers all the time with these like little cryptic clues and everything. But it's been a while since they've done it like this, so it's kind of refreshing. It's like
yeah.
nostalgia.
Maybe they have something to announce. That's why usually with the events
Maybe.
they're so quickly. There is like what happened in that.
Yeah.
As this time they actually have something to tease. All right, let's go into the Pride issue from Marvel has come out, and then they are not doing like an anthology. They're doing more of one story. Yeah, which is Wiccan and Hulkin has an anniversary. Ultron crashes. Which I like. I think I enjoy seeing them. I don't like the anthologies, honestly. I like the representation, but I'm not really into because like one story could be great and then the rest are not your bag.
Yeah. And you feel like you waste your money for it.
Yeah,
exactly. So I like that they have the Zoe Tunnel again. So if you guys want to pick up Sink Your Teeth that we're publishing, Zoe's back. She's writing for this book as well. But yeah, I'll pick it up. I think that's fun. And one thing I'll say about I hope Hulkin and Wiccan kind of step up their game though, because I've always loved them, but everything I've read, I'm just like, not for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But yeah, no, I agree with both of you. I'd rather it be just like a single story like this than an anthology for sure.
Okay, let's go into. Speaking of events, we got the Queen in Black event. Don't worry, guys. The King in Black. We got Queen in Black. I'll check it out, but it does remind me a little bit of like let's use nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. But I like the people on it. Like I think there's some cool interactions here. You got Flash on one side, you have MJ on the other, Spider-Man on one side. Yeah. So I'm interested, but I'm wary because I'm like, I've seen this before.
I mean, we'll probably talk about Noel later as well. So it's yeah, we'll see.
The thing. It's like the Noel series leads into the Queen in Black series, and then it's going to basically be light versus dark. It's like Star Wars. That's basically what I'm getting out of this whole thing, man.
Yeah. So we'll see.
All right. Next up is another Armageddon tie-in. So this is Avengers Armageddon. I believe this is a miniseries, but Zdarsky is writing it, which I feel like is a hint that maybe he is gonna be the next Avengers writer. I feel like that's the obvious choice.
Yeah, that would make sense for sure.
I think so too. I think he's going to jump on that too. He'll probably, and I think all this stuff is going to connect. I think Captain America is going to connect. I think Iron Man will eventually connect. And then I think then it's Avengers. And I think those 3 titles, I think he's all going to do. Or I mean, not Iron Man, but I think they're all will connect. And then he gets to Avengers that he does.
Yeah. Agreed.
Tevye asks, what about the Ultimate Reborn stuff? I'll say all 3 of us didn't mark it down, probably because we weren't that interested in it. So that's why we're not discussing it. Because, they what was it? The what's he collecting again? I forget.
Origin boxes.
Origin boxes. I knew they were boxes of some sort. Yeah, they talk more about that, and I don't have any interest right now in the Origin boxes. So I think that's our answer on that one. All right, let's do Hulk and X-Men crossover. I'm actually really excited for this. One of our potential titles for this week was going to be, is Hulk the best franchise at Marvel? And for me, man, so far, yeah. I would say
yeah, too. This series as of right now is really good. And this could be the best X book you get as well, too, for I mean, you're going to see this cool battle, you would think, against the X-Men and this crazy Hulk, and it's drawn by Nick Klein. Like, that is going to be insane.
Yeah.
That and even Planet She-Hulk hasn't been too bad. Like, if you're thinking about all the Hulk series, like, that's been, I won't say a top 5 series, but it's always solid. It's never disappointing. And then you have Hulk, which has been great. So I'm just like, oh yeah, both Hulk series are pretty strong.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, I'd say She-Hulk is pretty good. I wouldn't rank it up there as like my top 5.
No, not at all.
But it's
been consistent.
It's a readable. Yeah. It's a readable book. It's a bit different. It gets Jen,
Yeah.
With solid art too. The art is not bad.
But like, I'm looking at my top of it. I'm trying to go through my Marvel titles in my head, and I'm just trying to really think about what stands out.
Hulk, and that's it. Let me see what I have some pick of the weeks. Let me see like what my pick of the weeks of this year have been so far. The Marvel book I had, Infernal. Oh, Fantastic Four. I really like Fantastic Four.
Black Cat.
Yeah, but it's still finding its legs though. Like, I like Black Cat, but it's not always like our number one pick.
Right.
Venom.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Not everyone will agree, but we love Venom here.
Yeah. Those are the main ones that I can think of.
I do like Captain America as of right now. I think it definitely has potential. Dungeons and Doom is pretty good. There's been just a lot of mini series that I've liked from Marvel, but not so much I would say like their ongoings, you know?
Yeah, I'm looking more now. I agree. I think Iron Man has potential to be good.
It's too early yet.
Yeah,
it's that one issue.
And that's it. I'm looking at my whole list. Those are all the books from Marvel where I'm like, yeah, those have been really good. I like Spider-Gwen, but I don't think it's top 5 most of the time. I think it's usually like in the middle.
No.
Same.
Spider-Gwen honestly, is ending, they said. Is this always a rumor?
I know, right? Spider-Gwen, honestly, I was on the verge of dropping it if it wasn't for that ending in this past issue. I really was. There wasn't anything to me that really happened. And then you saw Mysterio at the end. I'm like, okay, now we got like a spider character in there. So we'll see.
I think what's hard about Spider-Gwen this series is that I think there's a lot of potential to be really great, but I think the artwork doesn't really match the series. And then also it's not as great as it used to be, right? Like when like that first volume of Spider-Gwen is like, that's like top tier. So it's hard to compare it to what it was to what it is now, but also what it has been. It's been a lot better than what we've gotten too. So it's just like, oh, it's nice to get a solid Spider-Gwen series. I actually think one of the best Spider-Gwen series was the Melissa Flores one where she did the Battle of the Bands, where it was that mini series. Because then you got to see her be in the band and Earth 65 as well. So that was probably my favorite. Jeff is in demand. But I wouldn't call Jeff like the number one comic of the of the thing. I mean, it's fun, but it's not gonna make the top. Uh, okay, so let's get into our next topic here, which is Jay and Silent Bob are going to be hit in the Marvel Universe. So you got a couple of different audiences coming together. Not that Kevin Smith hasn't been related to comics in the past, but if you like his movies, he's crossing over with Marvel.
Hey, I think that's probably going to be fun. So I've watched all those movies, and you can't help love for comics and stuff like that. So I'm on board with this for sure.
Yeah, me too. And his movies have a bunch of comic reference in them as well. So it makes sense. I think this will be a lot of fun.
We actually forgot to talk about this, so I'll talk about it real quick. But the Hulk War is coming. Marvel confirms Infernal Hulk finale, but that also could mean like what Thor's been doing, that they might launch another volume of something.
For what I heard, it's a like the third part to his story.
The next one will be his third part.
Yeah, and that's the Hulk War. I think that's what it is. But you got what's going on right now, and then it'll be the Hulk War, and I think then that will be the end of his Hulk run,
which I'm okay with, because I will say Incredible Hulk, his first round went on a little long. Like I think he even dropped at a certain point. So I think keeping it short will help. But I like this run a lot because it reminds me a lot of Immortal Hulk without being Immortal Hulk. So that's why I really
and it's not as like
dark.
No, it's not even that. I don't mind the darkness. It was Al Ewing that wrote it, so it's like very involved, very heavy, just like psychological, just weird and just out there. And some of this stuff you're like, what's going on? And you got backtrack. This is just enough, at least for my basic brain anyway.
Yeah, no, it's solid. But I can see where you're coming from, that the other one's a little more I'll say more about philosophy for sure. All right, let's do the multiple Robins are going to show up in Absolute Batman, which we knew that Robin was going to show up in some way, but now people are trying to guess who the Robin is. A lot of people don't think it's Dick Grayson because we've already seen Dick. So some people are saying Damian, some people are saying Steph. I would love to see Stephanie Brown. I think that'd be very different and fun. But again, there are multiple Robins, so who would it be? I mean, Tim and Steph would be really fun. I think that'd be a fan favorite. I just don't want Damian. Well, I don't know how it could be Damian because Batman's pretty young in this.
Yeah, it's going to be Carrie Kelly.
You know what? I was actually just thinking the same thing too. That's funny as hell.
I could see it.
Signal.
Yeah, Duke.
I mean, you never know. Duke could show up too. I just don't want like the obvious. I don't want to be like, here's Jason Todd. Just give me someone it could be an obvious person, but then also a not obvious person. Like I kind of want a combo.
Maybe it's Tim.
I obviously would love Tim. He's my favorite.
But don't forget, this is the Absolute Universe.
Yeah.
So the person that you might think you like, you might actually hate. So you never know how different they could actually be.
That is very true. All right. Well, we'll see. Issue 20 is coming sooner than you think. I will say Mark Brooks had a Poison Ivy cover from MegaCon that was signed by him as CGC'd and signed by Scott Snyder. I was able to grab that one. So when I get it, I'll show it to you guys. But it was like 100 and like 50, which I thought wasn't that bad for a CGC, and both of them signing it and being an exclusive cover of MegaCon. So I was like, all right, I got to grab that. And I like that about the Absolute titles. You feel like the covers are special and things are special about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
All right, let's speaking of Absolute Universe, we have Absolute Martian Manhunter ending, and it's been very much known that is because of the creators, because they have another title actually coming out. So DC Comics, they gave him another thing, and they're like, we'd rather do that than this right now, and we have an ending plan for this. So I think that will make sense, though. It was kind of spinning its wheels a little bit, honestly.
Yeah. I was like, I said I was going to drop it, but then now that I got this word that it's ending, I'm like, well, maybe I should just complete the run while I'm at it, since it's almost done at this point now.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna I'm gonna finish it up. I was planning on continuing it anyways, because I mean I've always liked the psychedelic aspect of it, but I would agree that it wasn't moving as much.
Right.
All right, we got 2 more things left here. We got What If, the 50th anniversary, and there's some really interesting ones here. So we'll read them off one by one and talk about them. So first up is what if Cyclops had stayed with Madeline Pryor? I mean, that's traumatic.
That's
I'll
actually
pick
a
it
cool
up.
story.
Yeah.
I would read that.
Yeah.
Jerry Dugan's writing it, so I think that's a really solid writer to do so. I'm not as familiar with the artists. All these artists, besides Cafu, I'm not as familiar with, so I probably won't mention the artists. Next up, what if Thor got Spider-Man's symbiote suit? This is one I feel like we've already seen with the what ifs, you know?
I'm like that one's kind of dumb because it's like everybody else in the planet has gotten a freaking symbiote. Are we sure that we haven't seen Thor with the symbiote before?
Yeah.
All right. Next up is what if the Ultimate Universe survived the Secret Wars? Another one I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting because, I mean, we're kind of living it right now with the whole Ultimate Universe being in the fray.
Yeah, that's true. I might check that one out.
Tevia says, these what if sucks. Okay. It's an opinion. Again, I think everyone's got to think a little bit more. Not everything has to be the worst and the best. People, we can be in the middle a little bit.
Yeah.
There's so many different titles. How does every single one, how are they all bad? And I actually thought this was a good round. We've had some that are just like, why do we need this? These are actually, I feel, pretty thoughtful.
What if Peter Parker stayed married with Mary Jane?
Then it'd be Tevia's favorite.
Yeah, right.
It's just Spider-Girl.
It's called, I guess it's called Ultimate Spider-Man
or Ultimate Spider-Man. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we already have that book. All right, let's get into what if the radioactive spider bit Jessica Jones? This is a fun-ish one because you guys probably know that Jessica Jones went to high school with Spider-Man. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of fun. But also I could see being kind of one of the one-offs in this group.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it almost kind of reminds me of Silk, right? Because she got bit. So it's kind of similar in a way. So I don't know. I'll check that out. And also
she has powers already. They're pretty similar to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's just like, all right, now I guess she's just climbing walls. All right. Moving on to another, I thought this was an interesting one. What if Kraven survived The Last Hunt, written by DeMantis, who wrote The Last Hunt?
That's probably my most anticipated out of all of those.
Well, I mean, we'll see one more coming up that me and Brant might be more anticipated for.
Well, you guys and your Runaways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I will say this
Runaways
is probably my
didn't run away.
But like by Rainbow, like Rainbow could write the dictionary. I'm like, I'm there. Like,
this is already number one, and it's not even out yet. It's like number one, guys.
That could be really interesting. They could become villains.
It doesn't matter. It's going to be number one. It's number one already.
It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you. I can't wait for both of us to have it as number one of the year.
You can mark this down right now, and I'm saying that it's going to be both your guys number one.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I just like it's so like sometimes you're just looking for crumbs sometimes for the Runaways. I'm like, is there another one coming out? Right. And just Rainbow. I love how much she loves them. But I will say, if I had to pick a second favorite, it probably is going to be the Kraven The Last Hunt as a Spider-Man fan. How about you, Brant? Do you have a second one?
I'm actually curious about the Madeline Pryor one, honestly.
Yeah, I would say that for me too.
We have 2 more here. We have Captain America was unfrozen in 2099.
Nah.
I mean, it's just got to be a 2099 story.
Yeah, that's kind of lame.
And then we have what if Cassandra Nova killed Charles Xavier? I'm not a huge Cassandra Nova fan, so I'm probably not going to pick that up. And it's the same writer who's been doing Magic. So if you've been liking that zone, pick it up. But if you haven't, I don't. I
mean, wouldn't she be just a bad guy anyway? Again,
I mean, it depends on when she killed him. Like if she killed him in the womb,
right?
Right. Like,
I guess maybe she would be the teacher of the mutants,
or she'd be an evil teacher of the mutants. I don't know.
But we've also seen that too. So like, how many different things can you do?
Yeah.
What if Aunt May was bitten by the radioactive spider on Peter's
See, these are the comics we need, right?
That would be great.
Because that's funny. And again, we talked about it last week. And
what if Aunt May actually died and stayed dead?
in issue 400.
And we know comic is just all black pages because we see it from Aunt May's point of view.
Yeah, Aunt May, it's all black. Silent and pictureless comic book. That would be a first ever.
But if Rainbow wrote it, I'd pick it up and put it as my number 1. But yeah, that's all the what ifs. I actually thought they were really fun. I think most of them I'm going to pick up, and it's like, have fun with it. That's what ifs are all about. And also, you don't need to pick them up, right? If none of them interest you, they connect to nothing. So you do not need to pick them up.
I can tell you though, if these books are like $6 a piece, I don't know if I'm going to be picking up. Marvel comics are getting way expensive. Just because of all the videos that I do, that I always see the prices on them. There's books out there that are just 32 pages, right? 32 pages and $6. Like, and then there's other 32-page comic books that are $4. So what are you doing? Like, come on, man.
I agree with you, but I'll say the only one you have to get is Runaways. You can all the other ones you can put to the side, but you gotta get Runaways. But yeah, going back to the actual number. No, I mean I agree. That's why you gotta pick and choose your comics. But DCA, I don't think has been as high. They're usually pretty moderate with their prices. All right. Speaking of, go on, Brent.
I was just gonna say, at least these aren't coming out all at once. It's like one a week. For a couple months.
For a couple months, all summer. So we probably won't even talk about any of these because we'll be off. Maybe in August we'll be able to talk about the comics from August, but we probably won't talk about the other ones unless it's on our individual channels. But let's talk about the DC publishing plan here. So we have a couple of books, which I know in March they have a lot of their new titles coming out. Let me see which ones, and they were all like in the same week. Because I just did my like March list. Yeah, on March 18th, they have Batwoman coming out on the same week, Deathstroke, Lobo, and New Titans. I'm like, I liked how they did Vertigo because every week they had something new. So like you could have spread it out. I don't like that all of them are in like 1 week.
That might mean like one of them might not get purchased, right?
Right. No, exactly. I think it's shooting one.
And you know that which one that one might be for me? Titans. I seriously, it might be.
I have to get Titans because of Steph. I have to get it, but I understand that. Like
it's like, well, you got to look at it. It's like, okay, well, who are your favorite, maybe more favorite characters? So for you, right, you got Stephanie in there, so it's like I'm gonna pick that up maybe before I would pick up Deathstroke, right? I mean, that's just one of those things.
See, I really like out of that list. I think Lobo would be the one where I'm like, I don't know, but then Scotty Young's writing Lobo, so I'm
Scotty
like,
Young's doing
I really want to pick that up. So like, I don't. That's why it's hard. I don't think I would. I think I would try them all, even though it would be heavy on the wallet. I'm like, I kind of need all of those, unless maybe I'm missing one that I didn't list. Maybe I don't have it in my pull list, and I already said no to that. But we're gonna say.
For me, it'd be Batwoman because I've never been able to get into a Batwoman.
And I will say for you, Brent, it's the same writer who's done Batwoman. So if you haven't been able to get into, I love the original Batwoman. So that's why I was like, I'm excited for that. I'm actually really excited for that. But I can understand for you if you never got into it, why try again?
Right.
Isn't Kyle Higgins writing new Teen Titans? He's writing a different Teen Titans. Which we'll talk about. The new Teen Titans is the one that's like a spinoff of Titans. Then there's going to be another Teen Titans that Kyle Higgins is writing, which actually gets us to our story here. So let's talk about the Absolute Universe stuff. I don't remember. Did we talk about Green Arrow? No, we didn't. I was like, I feel like it's been out forever, but we haven't not talked about it here. So Absolute Green Arrow and Absolute Catwoman. Absolute Catwoman, we pretty much had a lot of information about already because it's been around, but Scott Snyder's helping. Ben Gell is doing the art. But Absolute Green Arrow, I thought was really cool because we have the art from Raphael or Albuquerque, and also it's actually Black Canary who's the lead. She's like hunting Green Arrow, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, we've only seen Green Arrow like in that one shot, right?
Yeah, and he got killed.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know when this takes
place.
It's
a new Green Arrow. It could be someone else. Yeah.
But it is an interesting twist that she's
maybe it takes place before everything.
It could, yeah. I don't know.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually do have a list of things coming out March 18th. So you have on this, it says Lobo, Batwoman, Deathstroke, the Terminator. So I mentioned all those. And then the new Teen Titans is technically like the same series as the old ones. So I guess that's why they don't mark it here. And then the Fury of Firestorm issue 1 comes out April 8th, and Zatanna issue 1 comes out April 29th. The new titles that have new information, though, we have Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. We find out that she's in jail. And it's written by Mariko Tamaki, which I am really excited for. Like, I love Mariko's writing, especially for a character like this. I think sometimes she's a little hit or miss with like a Detective Comics, but this I think is going to be her bag.
I'm actually all over that Kyle Higgins Teen Titans story because it's
Jason
Danielle
Todd.
I mean, it's Danielle DiNiccolo doing the art too, so it's that team from like Power Rangers and stuff. So I'm excited.
I'm interested in Flatline being part of it. I think that's pretty cool. And I forget the one with the hat. Let me see who that is. Is that? Did they mention who she is? Because I mean, it looks like Roy's daughter, but I don't know if that is her.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They don't have names on there.
Yeah, but definitely not. I mean, Flatline I recognize, and then Jason Todd taking the head of them, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that. And then the other one's Dead Man, which is the writer of Ice Cream Man. If it's a light week, I'd get that, but I'm not usually a Dead Man person.
I've never been a huge Dead Man guy either.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the DC stuff. I'm going to talk about some Kickstarters, and then we'll go into the comics because, believe it or not, there was a lot of comics this week as well. But I am going to, like I said, talk about some Kickstarters first. So let me do the entire screen. So let's start off with our Little Mermaid book, which is loading. It is ending in 2 days. If you want to see what happens after the Little Mermaid adventures, this is a pirate adventure where we get to see, some twists and turns about the mythos that you might know about the Little Mermaid, and maybe the Sea Witch is involved here. So if you like pirate stuff and mermaid stories, go check it out. There's a safe work and a not safe work version. So if you want to read either, you can. And then I am going to do one more here that I have. Let me do entire screen again. So I mentioned I'll be at Emerald City Comic Con next week because I'll be tabling there, and we have an exclusive cover for Emerald City Comic Con. So if you're not going to the event but still want a lenticular cover, you could check out the Kickstarter. So I'll also put that in the comments. That's all the Kickstarter stuff. So we are going to move on to the comic books for the week.
Comic books, yeah, we finally made it to it, huh? There's a lot of books too this week also. So let's get started here. Let's talk about Brant and I read this. This is Exquisite Corpses issue 10. We kind of were talking about it a little bit before. So in this issue, I'm trying to even remember what happened. Oh yeah, it's like we got the woman that got hung up in the trap. I remember that.
Yeah.
Right. What else did we have happen? Oh, the conspiracy theory guy, he's no longer around either. He wound up getting killed in there also.
Yeah. The ground master or whatever the guy.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Got
so you're starting to see a
DMC.
lot of like different participants in other ways being eliminated, so they can, I guess, narrow down this field so they can focus on some of the main characters here.
Right. Yeah. Which, that's cool. And like now there's like tension in the with all the rich people, right? Because the one guy has to take over both jobs, and his life's on the line and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was interesting seeing all that come to play. And Rascal Randy, we talked about him earlier. He's still in it somehow, some way. So yeah, just another solid issue.
He just randomly shows up out of nowhere. Yeah. It's just like I feel like he's like one of those guys that just and then he just like sits there and he just like kills everyone for fun. It doesn't even reckless crazy idiot.
And the mom that thinks her kid's dead.
Yeah,
and we saw him elsewhere. So he's
with that guy, right?
Right. So was that gamer kid that she found? Possibly.
Was it? Maybe.
I don't know. Who
I
else
don't
is
know
it
who
gonna
she
be?
found. I was
Yeah,
very confused in that part. I'm like, okay, she thinks that's her son?
yeah.
Like, I was like, come on, you should know if that's your son or not, right?
Well, he was underneath the other guy, so I don't know if she actually saw his body or just saw a little child underneath him because
Maybe,
he was the one with him. So I don't know.
maybe. Yeah, yeah, make a good point. Yeah, but always a good book,
Yeah,
and we're getting close to it to end, so I am curious to see how that thing will all wrap up there.
yeah. Me too.
All right, so let's go on to, uh, let's talk about Absolute Batman first, issue 17. So here we get the introduction to, Absolute Poison Ivy. Pretty fun book as you get to see the adventure that Batman goes on to try to reach her. And obviously, she's not the beautiful Poison Ivy that we're all familiar with. It's kind of funny how they teased you with that, and then she becomes this like grotesque like plant creature monster, which I thought was kind of cool. And then the other part of the story is we wind up getting kind of like her origin, like her mom is sick and she's trying to, uh, help her mother as well. So I thought that was cool. And then you get those little teases in there, like Dick is in there, and then you wind up getting Martha, who is this is a spoiler, who is connected to the Court of Owls as well. So yeah, there was a lot of little fun and different elements in that book. So yeah, it was a good time.
I like the Martha part definitely the most, just because that's the one where it's like, like
It's
that's
different.
the biggest difference.
Yeah.
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 But I liked Poison Ivy. I thought she was cool. I liked her design. I thought she had an interesting background. I think my only nitpick for this issue is that there were a lot of things going on. There was a lot of elements that I kind of wish, like, I wish this issue just focused on Poison Ivy and the next issue would focus on this. But it's not a fun time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a solid book for sure. And again, the cliffhanger, I didn't see it coming. But I mean, but also it made sense. So I didn't see it coming in the regard of I didn't think it would be in this issue, but it makes sense that she'd be involved with, the Court of Owls, that the family was involved in for decades and centuries.
Right.
Yeah. So
I
fun
don't
book
really have
there
much
as
to add.
well.
What
What's
happened,
I said I don't have much to add to that. So, yeah.
Brian?
All right, so then let's go on to Ultimate Spider-Man issue 24, the conclusion. So for me, I just felt like this book was like an end of a story arc. Like it just ended, and then it's like, so then let's throw in a little touching moment with Peter and MJ on how they, when they first got pregnant and stuff, which is fine. Like, listen, there wasn't anything wrong with the book, but it just wasn't like it just felt like didn't need to end. It just felt like it was just getting started here,
Yeah.
and that's the disappointing thing for me.
No, I felt the same exact way. It was interesting because I got a comment on one of my videos and they said, I'm surprised you didn't like Ultimate Spider-Man. Like, all these things weren't that great, but like, think about MJ and Peter. And I'm like, but the MJ and Peter stuff was like 6 pages, 7 pages. It wasn't much. Like, a lot of it is that Kingpin fight. And I'm just like, for an end of an arc, yeah, fun, whatever. But for an end of a series, and I was like, all right, I mean, it just didn't satisfy as much. And the shows goes back, does Hickman know how to end a series? Kind of continuous track record where, yeah, it was just fine. It might even been good if it was just the end of a story arc, but end of the series, it wasn't good enough.
The weird thing about it was a good ending if it was open ended, if you were continuing into another volume, if you were just leaving it ambiguous and everything. But with the universe ending and with all this stuff with the maker, like that's not over. So why is he hanging up the webs? Why is he done? It didn't make much sense. I mean, they didn't say he was hanging up the webs. I'm just saying it. You got the impression now he's focusing on family and they're going to go forward with their lives and everything. So it was weird. And considering everything else going on in his world right now, that he's just like, okay, my personal stuff's done. Kingpin's dead. I can just live now, even though his whole purpose for getting his powers was to fight the Maker and all this stuff. So it was
and that was in that series too. That was in the beginning of
that
was
series.
In the
very beginning.
Yeah, so it wasn't even like outside of it. Like it's
right.
I agree. I think there's a lot of editorial stuff that happened here once again to make it what it was. But yeah.
I will say, if you take away that this is the end of a series and all that other stuff going on, this was actually a good issue in and of itself. So that's that's the confusion there. But yeah.
I think it was good, but it wasn't fantastic because of the Kingpin stuff, I'll say. I think everything after that was good.
What I liked about it was I did like that fight because it was good to see Spider-Man in actual action. It's something that we haven't seen. Like,
but do you think the build up to that specific fight was good? Because that was where I was like, oh, it's cool to see the action, but I don't know if that action was deserved.
I felt they did a good job with it in the last issue because it started in the last issue, you know.
But do you think Mysterio would have been a better person to fight because that was the whole series that they've been like? Kingpin was kind of tacked on.
I don't know if that would ever happen because Gwen Stacy's part of the Mysterio 5, you know, so it's like they all have to have a say in order to, I guess, fight him. Like, I don't know, like that character has all of a sudden become something else once they've all combined, you know, which I thought is weird. So,
but that's still an interesting fight if you do that, because there's conversations about that. There's like, what does that look like? I think that's more interesting than like, here's the random fight with Kingpin. I'm not trying to take away, because I don't disagree that this book needed more action and needed more Spider-Man. No, I just don't know if they did it correctly here. I think there could have been something more.
It did, to me, it made sense that it was Kingpin because he was the person that was in charge. He was the one where everybody looked up to him. So it made sense that, you know, that he was exposed and Spider-Man took him down. That was really the whole thing of it all, you know? So
for the final of the series, do you think, or just the final of that arc?
Listen, to me, it's a end of a story arc. That's the way I'm looking at it. And it's just like, and they're like, okay, well, it's ending now. And that's how it is for me. That's the way I look at it. I mean,
well, I do think someone's going to pick it up after. I think that's the biggest difference.
It'll never be the same though. It will never be the same. Yeah. It's just not. Like, who are you going to put on that book?
Bendis.
Right? No one can write Amazing Spider-Man. Who's going to write Ultimate Spider-Man? And it's and it's just like, I think Hickman, if maybe he was allowed to continue, maybe he could have written something great. But I don't think we'll ever get the right story, right? It's kind of like, did he want to continue, or does he get bored with it? You know, it's kind of I don't know. It's kind of weird for me.
Well, that's the question too, because it does feel a little bit like a pattern. But then also, if you think of Peach Monomoko, like obviously that series wasn't for the three of us, but a lot of people like that Ultimate X-Men series that weren't us. And people were like, "Oh my god, it's ending! I'm so upset!" You know, like Peach is leaving, so they're like these major people are leaving those titles. I don't think it's just coincidence that they're leaving all at the same time.
Yeah, it's just weird because it feels like this version of the Ultimate Universe it always had an expiration date because of the way they built the story with the Maker and everything. So
yeah.
Which has not been the most interesting story, if I'm right. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, when it comes to Ultimate Spider-Man, do you know how everybody was all over this title until like Absolute Batman came out? And then Absolute Batman comes out and it just like takes it over. And I think this Ultimate Spider-Man title really had that potential of being just like Absolute Batman. In fact, it was for a little while. And like you said, Brant, I just think this Maker story just ruined it. It completely did.
The only difference I'll say with Absolute Batman, though, which is why I don't think this version of Ultimate Spider-Man could have succeeded in that, is Absolute Batman is not afraid to do stuff that's different. And I don't know if this series did it as much as Absolute Batman did. Like, the thing that I think is so successful about this series is that the character designs look so different and so interesting. Here, it's like Spider-Man kind of looks like Spider-Man. Everyone kind of looks the same. There's some twists and turns that have kind of been done before. We've seen, you know, Uncle Ben alive again. We've seen Spider-Man's kids. I'm not trying to take away from the enjoyment of that series. No. I don't know if it could be on the level Absolute
But you
Batman
saw how popular it was before Absolute
but
Batman
never as
came
bad
out.
but never as big as Absolute Batman.
But take away Absolute, but say Absolute Batman didn't exist, right? Like, it was selling like crazy, and it's still a pretty decent high selling book. I think just in general, Batman tends to be more popular than Spider-Man in very many ways, just in general. But if you took away the Absolute Batman, and like everyone was all over this book, everyone's Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man.
The difference, though, is everyone who's already reading comics are on top of it. Did it bring new people into comics? I think that's what the Absolute Universe has been able to do that Marvel hasn't to this extent. Obviously the movies have, so I don't want to speak on that. But
I wouldn't say that the Ultimate Universe brought in new comic book readers, but I would say that Ultimate Spider-Man brought in new comic book readers.
You think this version of Ultimate Spider-Man did? See, that's the part I'm not sure
I think
of.
it did. I think it did.
How many sales did Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1 get? I'm curious.
Really, I think it was a decent amount. You can look it up and see if you might get it.
Ultimate Spider-Man. Because I know, like, obviously Absolute at this point. And again, I'm a bigger Spider-Man. Well, I'll say Spider-Man and Batman are my 2 big ones. So, but I will say Spider-Man, I'm a bigger fan of. So I'm not trying to be like, oh my God, Batman's better. I'm just genuinely curious about the numbers of the sales.
I mean, I'm sure Absolute Batman blew away Ultimate Spider-Man.
So 450,000 across 7 printings. Oh, not even 140,000. It didn't even break 1 million.
It didn't break 1 million out of 4 print of all those
7 print runs, 450,000.
Right.
So Batman got 3 million.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it outsells it every single time. And I think it just gained momentum as the series introduced more of its characters, and
well, that's what I'm
word of mouth.
Well, that's what I meant
of it
in TikTok and social media. And I don't know if Ultimate Spider-Man ever hit that. And I think that's what they need to do. And honestly, I'll say Bendis's did that. I think the original Ultimate Spider-Man felt really different and sold really well after the fact. So it made a lot of good sales. I think that's where this one faltered. I do. And, but I don't know I don't know when that happened, because I don't disagree. I think it had the possibility to do that. I just don't know when. I think because there's so many issues, was there anything in the middle that got exciting? I think Gwen was. But
Gwen was,
I think there.
Craven was. I think just the whole introduction of it was. And it's just, like I said, it's just one of those books that I think was the best selling Marvel book. It was the best story going at the moment, and that was it, so but,
I want to answer Rob Cruz. You guys are hating on Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm disappointed. I think that's the biggest reason, because I don't want to hate, because I genuinely like this book a lot. I love MJ. I love Spider-Man. And as a Spider-Man fan, I really like this book. I'm so disappointed to how much it could have succeeded and where it led us. Because let's take all that away. It's like the what if, what it could have. We're still in this position where we don't even know if we're getting another Ultimate Spider-Man. We don't know if we have another Ultimate Universe. I think that's where the deflation is coming from, is like having a product just Spider-Man fans are happy about, and then getting it taken away from you very quickly.
It would have been cool if it just was just this book and that was it. I would have been fine with that.
Yeah.
Just give me Ultimate Spider-Man book. Give me Ultimate Shocker. Give me Ultimate, Scorpion. Give me Ultimate Rhino, Ultimate Craven. Just give me all that. And I didn't need any other Ultimate comic books. It didn't need to connect. It didn't need to do any of that stuff. And that's where I think Absolute Batman gets it right, because it does so well on its own, even though they're about to do their own crossover.
And that was the success. And I want to agree with the name changes, like Absolute versus Ultimate. The Absolute wouldn't exist without the Ultimate Universe. And that's why I want to applaud to the original Ultimate Universe, is that they did events, but that's when it started crumbling. It was Ultimate X-Men was its own thing. Ultimate Spider-Man was its own thing. And that's where it kind of succeeded. And what I love about that book is that it succeeded in trade. I think it's one of the first Marvel books where you're like, read it in trade. Like, that's the experience. And I can't think of a Marvel book before that did in that way.
I would even argue the New 52 might not exist without the original Ultimate Universe.
I could see that. Yeah. I think, the idea of bringing younger versions of a character. I bow down to the Ultimate Universe. Like, I stand by, and you guys could tell me if you agree. I think Ultimate Spider-Man has more consistent stories than sometimes the Amazing Spider-Man did. I think there was some really good, consistent stories in Ultimate Spider-Man. And obviously those wouldn't exist without the regular universe kind of inspiring those. But I think it had a really good run. Like, every arc felt special and like, oh my God, what are they going to do next? Even if you're not even talking about the Peter Parker stuff, you talk about Miles Morales, like there's so many great arcs, like and that's why I feel spoiled sometimes, because Death of Spider-Man is my favorite experience ever at finale. It was so good. I love it. It's one of my favorite books of all time. And I'm always looking for that. I'm hungry for that. And anytime I read a finale, I'm like, well, I guess it's not the Ultimate Spider-Man, the Death of Spider-Man.
Yeah. No, I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man had tons and tons and tons of issues. And I just think that's the difference between comics today and comics of yesterday. The stories just don't last. There's not the creators that maybe even want to do the stories that last, so, or they're forced to start them over again. So it's different. It's a different beast these days.
It just seems strange to me that you have a hit like this Ultimate Spider-Man when it came out, and you decide, no, let's cut it short, and in the whole universe, as opposed to, oh, this is really popular, let's see if we can continue this. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, they repeated their mistake with the same creator, right? Because think about the last time Marvel was really successful was Krakoa, and and they're like, well, let's cut its legs.
I mean, at the end of the day, just say what you want to say when it comes to this new Ultimate Spider-Man. It was their best-selling Marvel comic, and you just canceled it.
And I don't want to say 450,000 comics is not a lot, because it really is. And I think it shows that. And I think it shows it could have grown. And I think that's where I'm like, I love seeing comics grow to 6 million copies. And I want to see that from Marvel. I truly do. I know, like, I forget what book came out where they're like, this is going to be the one that sells 1 million copies. I'm like, please, Marvel, I want you to sell 1 million copies. That means you're reaching other people. You're just reaching your audience. And that's what I mean. I'm just like, I want other people to be reading comics like this Absolute line has been able to do, and even past Absolute, Transformers, Geiger, these other books have been able to do that, Marvel hasn't. And I don't want to see that. And they have done it in the past though. Like think about Hawkeye, like that, obviously years ago, but the Matt Fraction, David Aja Hawkeye, like they've done it. Let's continue to see it happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Maybe that should be our main topic of the day. Huh? I mean, shit. Anyway, so let's go on to our number 5. So, Brant, what was your number 5?
Mine was Absolute Batman.
Yours was Absolute Batman?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Mine was actually Captain America issue 7. So I like the book. Yeah. I thought it was pretty solid. I just like how it is, again, Dungeons of Doom, Captain America tying together. You got left with this huge cliffhanger at the end of it. We're getting a descendant of Doom, but you don't know who that character actually is. It's a female. She is older. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure there, but overall it was pretty good book. And again, I like how this ties in like 1 week later after Dungeons of Dooms. That's kind of what it says there. So it's cool stuff.
Yeah, I enjoyed this issue as well, and that threw me too. I like that cliffhanger. I think her name was Alina or something like that.
Yeah.
Alina Von Doom, and yeah, that was an interesting twist. And I'm probably getting this and Dungeons of Doom mixed up because they both centered around the kind of similar.
I was getting confused. I was like, "This is Captain America."
Yeah, it was the same thing. I mean, they were all in the dungeon, so it's kind of confusing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking of Dungeons of Doom. I'm trying to remember all the story points in Captain America. Which book was it, Mike, where the guys were getting infected by something?
Oh, that's in Dungeons.
That's in Dungeons. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And in this one, it's just they visit and they're on the outside of Latveria, and and that's where they're at. And Captain America visits the woman's house.
Oh yeah, she goes in. Yeah. Okay.
And that's when Alina Von Doom shows up at the end of it.
Yeah, so she was like there was like an activist and stuff, and some the family was saying she'll be dead in a year or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff. Yeah, I love how it's all tied together though.
Yeah, exactly.
I do want to shout out this comment. Styles says, Life Story is one of my favorite Spider-Man stories. Life Stories has a lot of good comics in there. So if you guys haven't read those, that's a good set, which is also Chip Zdarsky.
Excuse me. All right. Moving
I think
on here. Kat?
mine, yeah, my
Yeah.
number 5. Minor Arcana. I'm the only one who reads it. Really solid. I think it's the end of an arc, so we're not gonna get the next issue for a couple of months. But yeah, just the characters are moving. We get to see more drama. If you like character work, you'll enjoy Minor Arcana. I think a lot of people read it in trade though, because I was talking to my store owner probably a few months ago at this point. He's like, yeah, like those type of books, like just people tend to get it in trade instead of reading it issue by issue.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about End of Life issue 1. So this is
Vertigo.
the Vertigo book. And personally, I like this book. I thought it was really good. I liked seeing this character kind of mess up the robbery, and now he goes out onto the run, and then he goes back to basically his hometown, and he goes and lives with his dad, and him and his dad have this bad relationship and whatnot. And there was some moments in here that were really funny. I personally liked the character. I thought he was a funny character. And I'm curious to see how he's going to get out of this situation that he's in. So yeah, I thought it was fine. I liked it.
I like how dumb he was.
Yeah.
I
Go-
like
go
the
ahead.
humor.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into him though. I thought he was a little bit, for me personally, I just felt like he was so unlikable. I'm sure the story is going to be like, oh, look, he's going to be a better person, but he is just so bad. And obviously you saw where he was coming from, like what like his dad and stuff like that. And I think there will be heart, but in this first issue, I'm like, how is this guy gonna become a likable guy? And I get it. That's like the butt of the joke. But
I
for
like
me, it was
that,
a little
though.
hard.
Yeah.
I did
harder to
too,
connect
actually.
to.
Yeah.
It was like one of those things where it's like that's how you write a character, to where you get attached to him, to where you want to see, does he redeem himself? Does he remain an asshole? How does he deal with his dying father? Does he get back with this girl that he was with when he was younger? Like, there was all those little things. I liked when he was in the convenience store and he was about to call the woman's son, like, he's like, and then she was like, don't say that, and then the place gets robbed. There was a lot of like cool stuff in there. I liked it.
I did think it was interesting how much they leaned into humor, and I think that's something that worked very well for this book. I think that was what I was impressed by. We'll see if I personally get issue 2, but I'm glad you guys liked it. And again, I think it shows what I like about Vertigo is that they're really telling so many different types of stories for anyone. Bleeding Hearts for all of us was but there's some books I'm really looking forward to. So, and I like that every week you could get a new book and be like, oh, am I going to get this one? Am I not? So, but yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I liked it. All right, so then let's move on to Brant and I's G.I. Joe. This is issue 19. So yes, another fun issue, very heavily involved with Mask. When I saw how heavy it was in Mask, I was like, how are they not announcing this book at this point? And then like a couple days later, they announced the ongoing series. So I'm like, okay. So that's why I think G.I. Joe was so heavy on Mask this week. So
is Mask actually related to G.I. Joe, or is there just a different property?
No,
okay, so it is a different property that connects.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they did some crossovers when the IDW had all the licenses, but back in the day, I don't think they had any.
Is it
all
a
the
military?
cartoons were
What?
separate.
I know nothing about it. Is it a military story?
Not exactly. No.
Okay.
So it's very similar in with G.I. Joe and Transformers, in where there's the good version and the bad version. They all have the same tech and everything. But Matt Tracker in the original was like this billionaire philanthropist that put together this team to combat the
So it's like a
opposition.
Max Lord type situation.
I guess. Yeah, I guess in a way, but he was a much more likable kind of character. But, yeah, and they had this tech and these masks that they wore that each had a different kind of ability, and they had these transforming cars. And then you had Miles Mayhem with the competing corporation, and they were doing all kinds of underhanded things. And so the two battled, and then it yeah, it didn't catch on as much as they hoped back in the day, and so then
And
they
it was
tried
a
to.
TV show, right?
It
It
was a
wasn't just
Yeah.
cartoon, yeah,
okay.
it was a cartoon.
It's playing off of the Transformer and GI Joe.
Yeah,
It was like a mix between the two.
it's
That's
very
what they
much
were trying to go for.
exactly. So it's very much like Cobra, GI Joe, Decepticons, Autobots kind of thing, and same formula, just yeah, but elements of both.
Are there other properties that are like, because like it's so interesting that they found these three properties to be together, but is there others that they are gonna do?
And they could. I don't personally see it,
Yeah,
honestly. I think these three make sense.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I was
These,
just, I literally knew nothing about it. And maybe for the fans that know nothing about
yeah.
Mask.
This was literally like they created Mask because GI Joe and Transformers were so
Hmm.
popular. Same,
Yeah.
yeah, same company and everything. So
Well, at least G.I. Joe and Transformers, like nothing against Mask, like has a little bit of a mainstream
yeah,
ability to it. I think everyone knows what it is, but Mask,
right.
I'm like, I think most people are not,
No,
unless they're
it
your generation.
I'm
Not
telling you,
familiar.
yeah, 80s kids will know what it
Yeah.
is for
yes,
sure.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't even take off back then though because by this, I think the second or third season of the cartoon, they changed the formula completely to where the
Mm.
characters became race car drivers, and they were competing on the racetrack for some odd reason. And
So
then
Speed
it,
Racer is going to come into it.
yes,
then.
so then it just disappeared after that. So, but yeah, it didn't quite take off like the others, but yeah, it was huge back in the day.
Okay. I was just curious because I
It
was
was
like, oh, it seems like such a random property, but it's combining
there.
somehow.
There were so many toys for that cartoon. Yeah, so many.
What did you think about the Zartan thing? Like, he needs Energon to stay alive,
I love that.
right?
Yeah, because it makes the shapeshifter stuff make sense. Because before it's like, why is there this shapeshifter dude in this world of military and all this? You kind of just had to believe whatever they put in front of you back then, but now they're making sense of it. And
Yeah.
if that fuels like his shapeshifting abilities and all that kind of stuff, that kind of makes more sense. I really like that twist. Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. He was like, yeah, I needed to survive, so I need to find all the Energon I can. So I was like, damn, that's crazy. And then right away he sends him out on a mission. So now that you know who he is, right? And
Yeah.
then yeah, that was a
It's
good book,
just
dude.
yeah, it's such a good book.
All right. So we're talking about Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon. This is issue 1. So it's a Wolverine book that kind of it took place in the past in the beginning. It went to present day, and it has to deal with like Weapon X, I would say, right? And then it has
Combination.
a combination of mutant super soldier serum and then the Weapon X program, trying to combine the two together. Am I right to make
Yeah.
super soldier? Is that what it
Yeah.
was?
They didn't make it too clear, but that's how I read it too. Is like, okay, there's this like guy who's Wolverine and Captain America. I thought it was fine, right? Like it's kind of like every other event for me personally. I was like, okay, so like there's this new creature you created, and it's in the past. But I also didn't think it was bad. Like I liked the art. I was interested in the clipping. I wanted to see where it went, but I wasn't wowed by it. I was kind of in the middle.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm curious to see how that's going to tie into the overall Armageddon story.
Is it
of
not
Captain
involved at all
America.
right now?
No, I mean, this is actually the event. This is all
Yeah.
lead up to the event.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now you don't see the connective tissue. At the same time, like the X-23 book is dealing with a Weapon X type program too. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that has any ties to this either, or if it's a completely separate thing. I'm a little confused by that. But
True.
just looking at this book in and of itself, it felt like a classic Wolverine story to me, and in that way I enjoyed it. I was a little bit confused as to how this is going to tie in, but I'm sure we'll learn that as the
My guess is it's just going to be this character is going to show up, and this is the origin stories of this character.
And
It's my guess.
And
Awesome.
the origin boxes were in this.
Oh, was it? I know.
Were
I
they?
picked that up.
Yeah, like if you look at it,
I
they
missed
had
that.
to get these briefcases, and it is the origin boxes.
Oh.
I had someone point this out to me as well. in my chat.
Okay.
We need
Totally
people
missed
to
that.
be following these origin boxes because
Right.
there are
Right.
so many stories. I'm like, it's the most MacGuffin story I've ever heard of.
Obviously,
in my life.
these origin boxes are going to change everything that we know about the
Sure.
Marvel universe. That's
Yeah.
what's going
Sure.
to happen.
They're so
Okay.
exciting.
So,
I am glad you caught that though. I do genuinely hope it goes somewhere, but I don't love MacGuffin stories. Let's go find this thing and it does something. Like it's not that interesting to me, but I hope it does something interesting.
it was a lot of setup. I think that's what
Sure.
it's a first issue, so it's setting things up. So we'll see what happens.
I'd get the next issue. I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't think it was great either.
The new character's kind of pretty cool looking though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on to our number 4 then. So, Brant, what was your number 4?
Exquisite Corpses. We already talked about it.
What about you, Kat?
Mine's Ultimate Spider-Man. We already talked about it.
See?
Made it.
Ultimate
Yeah, I'm not a
Spider-Man, your
hater.
number 4, right? So you
Yeah.
can see, guys, she didn't hate on it. And at the end of the day, none of us hated the book. Like,
No.
I liked it too.
Mhm.
It just felt like it was a uneventful finale for, that's what it
Our
was.
expectations are too high. That's the actual
Right.
answer.
Compared to what the series once was.
A good example, and maybe not the best comparison because I think it was unsatisfying for a different reason, but the Sopranos finale, right? You're all really excited for the Sopranos finale.
Oh, and it just ends.
and it just ends, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously that's at least a talking point, but I mean that's a good example. I think it doesn't mean that you're like, I hate this show. It just means like, oh man, I thought something else was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Braden, Brant, you see this comment
I see
here?
it. I was,
Bionic 6.
yeah.
Bionic 6 was never a Saturday morning cartoon for me. It was always
I
Sunday
think
morning.
That was even in my generation. I think they must have remade it or something. Because
They had to, because that was an 80s cartoon too.
Yeah.
Like it had this bad, no, actually I shouldn't say that. It was bad. Most of the music back then was good, but it was like Bionic 6. Ooh, ooh. That's how it went. Yeah.
I don't remember, honestly. I remember the Mask song though. I'll sing that all day. Mask Crusaders, working overtime. Very
At least it sounds like it has a good theme song.
Yeah.
Most of the 80s things are really good though. Thundercats was cool, and
Jim.
Jim. Yeah, Jim. Oh my god. Oh man. All right, my number 4. Here we go. We got Dungeons of Doom. So speaking of that Armageddon stuff. So that was the book you were talking about before, Brant, where you got the other teams going out there and finding all the different items that are in the dungeon, and one comes up with this axe that's like Mjolnir that you have to be like worthy to hold. One was a person's daughter that was a ghost that was telling him to kill all his people on top of it, and it's just like it's like a horror story, and that's what I like about it, so yeah, just overall it's a good book. I like it. I just don't know if you're going to get any survivors at the end of this thing. Do they all kill each other? Do they all die from something? Like what truly happens there? So yeah. Good stuff.
Very interesting.
You feel like it ties into Fantastic Four a lot, or is it just its own thing?
No,
that's what I figured.
No, yeah.
If anything, it ties more into Captain America because
because of the stuff,
right. All right, so let's move on here. I forgot this actually came out. Amazing Spider-Man issue 22.
Can I start by saying I think this is the worst issue of this whole entire run. I did not like it.
So I don't think I hated it as much as you
Not quite
did.
that much, no.
I hated it.
So right away, there's obviously they need to get rid of the girlfriend. So they make her sick, right? She's an extraterrestrial. She gets infected by
breathe the air.
She can't breathe the air. So it's like, oh, we got to bring her to Fantastic Four. So obviously she's going to get exiled from Earth. She can't be here. So that's what's going to happen there in the future, right? But I do like how Ben met up with Peter and stuff like that. Like that's okay. He wrote a note, and I did think it was kind of cheesy though with the Aunt May stuff. It's
Well,
like,
that's
oh,
the
I gotta find
part.
Aunt
Yeah,
May,
That
and
was the
then
part
they
I
I
come
hated
home,
that
hated.
part.
and it's just like, oh, there he is. Let me give you a hug, and then he meets the boyfriend or whatever it is,
Boyfriend
and
was a total jerk. Yeah,
yeah, he's like, you're not. I met people like you. You need to leave, and it's just like, shut up. Who are you? You've been in the Amazing Spider-Man comic for like a minute, and all of a sudden you get to say what you're in control of Peter. Like that's ridiculous. Like I didn't like that either, but I didn't think this was like the worst Spider-Man read I've ever read.
I
no,
not ever read, but I think out of this run, this 20 issues, the reason I hated the how it ended with Aunt May. I agree. I don't really like Ben right now. So even the moment between Ben and Spider-Man, I'm like, whatever. I really just don't like Ben in this for a long time. I haven't liked Ben. And then the stupid galactic stuff. I'm like, it's a combination of things I could care less about all mixed into one issue. And then you end it again with the cheesiest of cheese whiz Aunt May ending, and I was like, I'm good. But I will say the art was a little better than we normally would get, so I'll give you that.
It's true. Now we go on to Death Spiral. And
And
Mike
also, yeah,
Manhattan.
it was a filler too because we're going to
Yeah,
Death
it
Spiral.
should.
So
Yeah, Mike
yeah.
Manhattan says Spider-Man won't get any better if you keep supporting it. Listen. If there's one book that I will support no matter what, it's always going to be Spider-Man. It's just I'm sorry, it's just what it is. But I think Death Spiral could have some promise here. I definitely think so.
I think there's at least build up and there's a lot of interesting character moments that can happen. You have Eddie coming into it. You have obviously the MJ stuff. So I am excited for Death Spiral. And yeah, with the Spider-Man stuff, I mean, I think there's so many people that have already given up on it and they're still doing what they're doing. They're going to continue to do it, you know? And yeah, for the three of us, we just can't, it's our drug. We can't say no to it.
Yeah, oh man, I'm hooked on Spider-Man. At least the
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man title. I've dropped other
Yeah.
Spider-Man titles before. But
Well, there's too many, so
yeah,
you can't pick them up all.
exactly. It's hard to drop a book when you've been reading it since you were a kid. You
Mhm.
know, it's just you kind of want to see the adventures. And we've said it many times before, whether it's good or bad, we like to discuss about it, you know. So
It's our Venn diagram, so
yeah. All right. So here we go. We have Smile for the Camera. This is issue 1. I'm surprised you did read this, Brant.
yeah.
it's based on the movie
Ye-
that the second movie I never finished.
I
I
never-
never watched the second
Me either.
movie.
I never watched the
and
first one.
The first one I didn't love, but I know you liked the first one.
I like the first
Yeah.
one. So it's a psychological thriller, and that's the
Yeah.
biggest problem I got in this comic book. It's not psychological and it's not a thriller. It's absolutely gore fest. It's like it's about these models living the model life, like
Yeah.
going to
I
like
will say, Mike, the second movie is pretty much that. So the second movie is so it's probably relating more to the second movie.
Is it? Okay.
Nah, because it's like about a pop star and
Yeah.
like her like she's a drug addict, and
Well,
it's more about that life.
Yeah, it was about models and stuff like that, and them dealing with like corrupt people, you know, taking advantage of them. But the thing is you had this one girl that saw someone that wound up getting murdered outside her plane, and then obviously she winds up getting the whole Smile situation. But her psychological aspect of dealing with it was just so very bland. It was like, oh, hey, let me look in the mirror and I see an ugly face, or you know what I'm saying? It was just, and the art wasn't that great. All you ever saw was like the backsides of like the people half the time. The panels were really small. It just didn't grab me whatsoever. It was just very, very bored reading it.
This was written by the writer that did Rogues Gallery, by the way.
Yes, yeah.
It was why I read it. So I was hoping it was going to be stronger than that. And going in cold, I didn't really know what to expect, and I was like, this isn't very scary. So I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was supposed to be. So yeah, no, I get what you're saying, Mike. I thought it was fine, but as a horror story. It didn't feel like a horror or a thriller.
Yeah,
I
like
feel like Smile as a franchise is just too new too. I know there's been like the 2 movies, but I don't know if it's like it's a Scream or even A Quiet Place. I think A
there
Quiet Place is more of a franchise than
there's a
Smile.
way to do it though. Like if you had different art, if you had there's a way to make it feel creepy. I mean, we've all read horror books before,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And there's some of them out there that really get you, that are pretty creepy, and it's just like you could have done it that way, and
Yeah.
it didn't deliver at all.
I think part of the problem with this one too was the girl that got the smile factor. She was already painted as kind of a flaky, kind of weird person, and
Yeah,
none of the all the other girls said, she's just, attention getter and that kind of thing. So the character that it was happening to was already kind of, you weren't paying attention to her. You thought you
right.
were disregarding her. So that kind of, you didn't have the tension building because of that.
Right, and her episodes were like I said, there were like 2 or 3 episodes where it
Yeah.
was like one panel where it showed her where she was having a psychological moment,
Yeah.
and I think what makes Smile that type of movie where you get into it is you're just like, "Oh my god, like that really gets you," but
Yeah.
just not there. All right, so let's move on here, and we're gonna talk about Titans issue 32.
Talk about cheesy.
This is the last issue, obviously,
Yes.
until the new
Oh my
run.
god. This whole run has been so cheesy drama.
I'm
It
surprised you guys stuck with it.
well, I only stuck with it because of
The
DCKO.
DCKO. Yeah.
Is it still tied? This issue is tied into
Yeah.
DCKO?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. And it's Tara that's now in, like, she was taking over Gem World, and then all of a sudden it's just like, who was it? Was it Raven talking with
Raven.
her? And she's like, you can be the best hero that you can, and we took a vote, and you could be a hero here, and you have a choice. You can make the right choice. And she's like, yeah, you really think so? It was just like, it was like this, like, after school special. It was like
It
so
was. It really
bad.
was.
It was
It
like an
was.
episode of Full House or something, man.
It
It was
was.
so bad.
It was pretty bad. It
Yeah.
was. Yeah. It was
And,
exactly that. Yeah.
no, and same thing with, like, what was it? Donna Troy and
Yeah.
then an Arsenal in there when they're fighting Grail. And then you get those new Titan kids that come through, and it was just like, we're here to save the day, and we're just gonna we're here to get rid of freaking what's her face, Grail, and they just like
Uh,
transport her away, and she goes flying in space, and that's it. That's the issue. Oh, and how about the end, Brant, when they all teleport to each other like through the mind?
telepathically. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just like, "We're Titans forever,"
Yeah.
It's just like, "Yeah, I'm
I
waiting for
missed
the
you all. Yeah.
yo-jo at the
Yeah.
end of this." It was so bad. It's so bad.
I'm glad
So,
I skipped most of that run.
yeah.
Well, I read the first DCKO tie and I didn't like it, so I was like, I'm good.
Oh, it was rough, boy. I can't believe I read all of it. I don't know what I was thinking there.
Yeah. Same.
All right, let's go on to number 3. Let's go ahead, Cat.
Mine was actually Generation X 23. I thought the art was pretty solid, and I liked how they connected to Laura's past with NYX. I don't know how to feel about the cliffhanger. I'm sure that's gonna be most of the series is these like kids who want her, but I thought this issue was a solid issue if you're a Laura fan.
I like the book. At the same time, it does do what every single X-23
Sure.
series does. It goes back into her past, deals with the other clones, all this stuff. And also, if you were a new reader coming into this, you're gonna be totally lost.
Oh yeah.
100% agree.
Right? And
Agree 100%.
like the reality starts breaking and everything. And she keeps referencing Kaiden, and if you don't know who Kaiden is, you're like, who the heck is
Well, and
Kaiden?
she's like
Yeah. She just goes, "This is my best friend."
Yeah.
Yeah, your best friend that you haven't seen in like 20 years. But
And
sure.
also, where's her binky? That's like her big thing. Like,
Right?
remember that? Like, that was her
Yeah.
visual is that she wore a binky.
Yeah. It was
I
all
just-
the rage back in the day,
It
I-
really was.
I didn't like this book for the reasons what Brant said.
Yeah.
This is not a new reader friendly book.
Oh,
And
not at
it
all.
just you would think while reading this, this is like the beginning of a story arc. It doesn't do a good job at introducing who Laura is. And I'm not saying you need to go into this like full blown story about that, right? But you don't know really Gabby. Like, how many people know Gabby?
Yeah.
I will agree that I think it was very distinct to fans, but I'm also kind of tired of like, let's make this new reader friendly if they're not going that direction. I understand why you should.
If you're going to introduce a number one, and Marvel's all about introducing new number ones, then you need to do something to get new readers on board. You can't sit there and say, here's my best friend. And then it's just like, I don't know. To me, there was no real hook in that comic book. Like, you go into this facility and then you come across these random people. Like, that's your big hook to get somebody on there. Like,
that's what I didn't love was the end. I will say they had their little intro. They always do. When I don't know who was reading them, but that's the one thing that Marvel does.
Yeah, no, I know. I get that. Yeah, but I mean, that's you know what I'm talking about.
No, like in the story.
Number one, you need a number one. You're charging $6 or $5 for a comic book. You need to really do something to hook that person there. And listen, I'm a huge X23 fan. I love Laura. I love Gabby. But as a person that has read many of her other comics before, I have read a lot better issue ones from her, and I've read a lot better introductory stories from her as well.
I think it's hard because, again, this was like 3.5 star book, so it wasn't like a 5-star book.
Yeah, sure.
But I think what's hard also is like, for me, it was the best of what we've gotten. And I think that's what's like, I was also rating on a scale of, it's like, I like this more than Magic. I like this more than X-Force. And honestly, a big part was because the art was like tolerable, right? The art was pretty good.
I agree with you. The art was good. I like the coloring. The action looked good in there as well. I just was expecting something a little bit more than what it was.
I will say I think they should have had like an NYX issue 1 reprint or something along with it, because I do think they picked a book that 2 people have read, me and Brant. And I love that book. I think it's an amazing book that has a lot to do with X23, but I can understand that being a very big pull, you know.
It's like, and Kaiden even showed up recently. Like, I forget what book it was. It was during one of those, I don't know, when Exceptional X-Men was out. That was one of those books in that field of books. But it was canceled really fast. But anyway, you know, you don't even reference like what happened to her in that book or anything. I'm in between you two. Like, I liked it well enough, but I know X23. I know Gabby.
Right.
I know where they've been and why they're in the place they're at and everything. But just, it felt like, you know, you're coming into this cold. You're in the middle of an adventure, a mission, whatever you want to call it. And it's just like, it felt weird to me, and it felt a little disjointed. But yeah.
I'd be curious how they continue the mystery. That's the one thing because that was another thing I liked about this issue, is that there was a mystery of like, oh, what happened to her friend? Like, what's going on there? But I do worry we're going to go into the same old story. Like, look at all these new characters. Like, I am scared of that, but I thought this was an okay first.
It was kind of like that Spider-Woman series where she wound up meeting those
which you guys read all the way through.
Yeah. Remember that, Brant? With those new characters? It kind of reminds me of something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I just wish we could get an X23 story that's not about, you know, Weapon X or the clones, or just tell these stories with the character.
I do agree. Like, you know, when we're talking about, you know, making it new reader friendly, editor's notes would take something a long way, and we don't get that in so many comics these days. But you mentioned, you know, the friend or whatever it is, she was from here. Check out NYX issue 1. You know, it's really easy to do stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm actually curious if they did it once. I think you're right. They never even said they never said NYX, which is so interesting.
Right?
Yeah. That is interesting. Because Marvel was like, especially Marvel, I feel like they used to do that all the time.
Oh, they used to, And then these modern comics, they just don't do it anymore.
The editors are too busy. They don't have time for notes.
Right. All right, let's move on here.
That was my number 3. So
that was your
yeah.
3. I see Generation X23 on
Yeah,
there.
I
That's
know.
Yeah.
why. Okay, so Brant, what was your number 3?
My number 3 was White Sky. So
Okay.
yeah, we're
Interesting. I
gonna
want to hear
talk
your
about it,
thoughts.
chat. Oh, you didn't like it?
Oh, I was bored, but I want to hear your
Okay.
thoughts.
I liked it. I mean, it didn't blow me away. It wasn't like
Mhm.
Talking Dead or anything like that. But I there's a bit of a mystery to it, and it's a little bit different. It wasn't the same old thing. Whatever this is that's chasing her, and we gather that the girl's going to be the main character going forward in the story. So I kind of like the difference going in a different direction with a similar story, the post-apocalyptic thing. All life's ended, but it felt more obviously zombies are supernatural, but it felt more supernatural in a way that this felt ghostly or I don't know what it is exactly, but it piqued my curiosity as well.
Now I understand why it clicked for you. Like right when you said mystery, I was like, this is wasn't connecting it right away. I was like, oh, what
Mhm.
makes this a brand book? And then I was like, oh yeah, it does have that mystery for you. I
Yeah.
think for me, what was tough is that you just had Everything's Dead and Dying, which is a
True.
very
Yeah.
it tackles a similar thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's what I love. I love getting
Yeah.
into a character's head. And this one, because it's so mysterious, I couldn't get into the characters. I was like, but why should
Yeah.
I care? So, and also there's just a lot of post-apocalyptic books out there. So I just don't know if it hooked me. But now I can understand with the mystery angle why this would be a top for you.
This wasn't in my top 5, but I did enjoy it to pick up the next issue. I think this was a good book that reminded me of like a 0 issue instead of a number 1 issue.
Mm.
It was one of those books that was like almost like a teaser to a movie, right? You get introduced to the main characters in there.
Yeah.
And then you see the girl, you realize that the girl and the father lost their mother, and then all of a sudden what's it called, there's people outside attacking the father, and then you get these random ghosts that come, and you're kind of like, interesting. I want to know how the world got this way.
Right.
That's what I want to know, right? I want to know who these ghosts actually are. Are they people? Were they people? Are they something completely else? Like, and I obviously want to know who the girl is. Does the dad survive? So it does leave with a lot of questions, right? And so that's why I want to continue this book. It's just that the first issue read so fast,
It did.
and I
Yeah.
was like, it didn't give me enough, but it does leave me intrigued. And so hopefully as the story goes on, we get obviously that mystery unlocked a little bit more as we
Yeah.
go along.
I'm just so interested that it was spec'd, and I don't know if it really I don't understand. Obviously, there's this whole
Well,
thing going on with specs. It's just like, here's the new issue 1 that should
true.
be spec. So I just so
Yeah.
curious why this one in particular. Dork, I
I
understand because like that feels very different, but this one I didn't understand as much.
I don't know. I didn't understand this one either. At the same time, Walking Dead, it took several issues for that to really blow up. So, who knows?
Yeah.
People are just trying to catch the next
Of
lightning in the
course.
bottle. And
Yeah.
I mean, the other book that took off this week, I don't know if you guys read that book or heard of that book. It was the Florida hippo
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
Hippopotamus
about it.
cocaine,
Yeah.
but that thing took off too. I got
Did it
that
really?
book also, and that
Mhm.
book is like $100 or something like that too
Jeez.
this week. I mean, it's crazy.
And that's harder to even get because these are image, so they're a little easier to get. The other one
Yeah.
was Matt Game, I
Mad
think that
Cave.
Yeah,
Florida
Mad
one. So
Cave. Yeah.
that's not as ordered as high. I mean,
Well,
White Sky sold out right when I was in the store. I
right.
had it on my pull, so I was
I
able to get
think
it. But
another reason why that White Sky had some spec was obviously it's apocalyptic. It might look like, it's this horror book, but
The Last of Us.
yeah, Last of Us, and part of it though too, I think is this could have been a book that was very under ordered, and
Mhm.
then somehow, some way, like it starts creeping out there, it gets a little bit of buzz, and you start seeing sales on eBay. Like people go on eBay and they see this
Yeah.
stuff and it's like $15, $20. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this book is $15, $20. And now everyone goes after it. And that's how it
Well,
drives this market.
yeah. Also, Mike Manhattan mentions that the writer of it writes video games, so that could
Yeah.
Yeah,
have
so
something to
maybe
do with
there's a
it
different
too.
audience.
Yeah.
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 It was interesting. Look, I love it. I give it every week. Give me a new indie. Like I want to see it continue to happen because like that means more people are reading indie books and ordering them. So like keep doing it. I'm just curious why this one this week because there's other indie books that came out, but then obviously the Mad Cape book came out too. So
right. All right, my number 3 was Absolute Batman. So we talked about that one. All right. So let's go on now. And we talked about both those books. So we'll just dive into the number 2 book. Brant, what was your number 2?
Mine was actually Ultimate Spider-Man. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mine was Absolute Batman. So we talked about it.
And mine was End of Life, issue 1. So we talked about that one too. And then we talked about Captain America. The only book that we didn't talk about yet is American Caper. I like this book, man. I just like the character work that goes on in this title. I think it's just so interesting just to see the life of this lawyer and his wife, and just like, and I think things are starting to get dark in this book.
Well, yeah, with that girl, I don't know how to. I guess that's his girlfriend. That guy is who went into the house, is like, or maybe ex. I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. There was
darker.
that, but I'm not even counting that. I'm counting the wife and the husband, because she's getting text messages from this guy saying that you must eliminate your husband because he's a pedophile and he's a gambler and this and that, and he's like, you got to do what's right for America, and then like, you're starting to see her get that gear. Like, is she going to actually try to attempt to kill her husband?
See, that one I wasn't even surprised by. That one I was like, oh yeah, she's on these forums. She's already been kind of talking about it. So I'm like, I'm not surprised by that. I just looked it up. I thought this was a mini series, but see, it's solicited to issue 8 already. So it could be an ongoing, which will be interesting. I think my only big nitpick about this comic is that I wish they would focus on one character each issue, because I just
tough.
want because it's like there's a lot of different narratives going on, and I like our main characters the most, so I like staying with them, but we keep going to other people.
And you kind of forget, like, why are they connected, like how are they connected to everything, so yeah, but it's not bad. I like it. All right, so with that being said, we're going to go to our number 1. My number 1 was obvious. It was G.I. Joe, and I'm sure that's Brant's too.
Indeed.
Mine was actually Fantastic Four issue 8. I thought this was a really interesting issue where we get to see a different version, possibly, of a Visible Woman, where she's like a killer, but maybe that's actually her. And I thought it introduced a really cool mystery that I'm interested in. I think Fantastic Four has been a really solid series.
I like this issue as well.
No, you didn't.
No.
I like
me and Brian on different sides.
Know, right?
I was a little bit. I think I was a little bit confused. So the Sue Storm that they showed, that was Malice, right?
Yeah, and then I guess they're showing a different reality with her,
different, like a parallel universe. Am I right? That's what I assumed there. Okay.
That's what I thought was interesting, was that mystery was like, oh, is this actually Sue? And then you find out it's not. But yeah, and I also like the idea of showing how strong she was too. It's like, this is the possibilities of her powers. I just thought it was a really solid issue. But Brant, what did you hate about it?
I didn't hate it.
I'm just joking.
I hate that Reed constantly talks and doesn't shut up. Cannot stand it.
Just gotta cut Reed out.
I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I don't know. I felt a little bored in it. I did like all her powers and the potential that Sue had, but I kind of already knew that, I guess. So yeah, when I realized that when it wasn't Sue, I was like, okay, so that's what we're doing, and it just from there it was like, okay, let's get to the point. That's kind of how I felt reading it. But yeah,
I get it.
All right. So with that being said, real quick, guys, can we go through these most anticipated? I got very little battery. I'm freezing my booty off over here, and I need to get to bed.
All right, we'll do them quick then. All right, so let's see.
The one time we all have different stuff.
I know, they're all different, so I'm trying to figure out where to start. All right, so Mike, Absolute Wonder Woman number 17. What's so exciting exciting about this book particularly? 'Cause I've
Wonder
not read it.
Woman fighting the absolute Suicide Squad.
Mm.
Enough
Oh,
said.
this is that issue. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. Okay, cool, awesome. Looking forward to that then. All right. I've got Is Ted Okay? And the only reason that this caught my interest is because it compared it to Severance, the
Mm.
Apple TV show meets God, I can't remember the other thing, but it was something else that I liked. So I
What
was like,
is
oh,
it?
I think it's Mad Cave, if I'm not mistaken.
But like I don't even know I don't even think I even heard of it. Like maybe if I saw the cover, maybe.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
this guy like burning.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
story about Ted and Sarah. Ted's isolated. Sarah's a new arrival of the city, finding her own demon. So it looks like maybe a
he's
romance story.
yeah, but he's paranoid. He has night terrors.
Oh,
He works for the world's only trillionaire.
Now I
And
know what you're talking about. I did
okay,
put this on my FOC.
yeah,
Yes.
it's
and
supposed
it's
to be a
compared to Akira. Right.
Akira meets Severance, yeah,
Mm.
and so I like both of those things. It's a psychological thriller, so it sounded pretty interesting to me. So yeah, I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna just you guys sold me. I'll try getting that one tomorrow.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's go with your number 3 then, Kat. Let's go to Superman number 35.
This is continuing the DCKO stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
this has been the most tied into DCKO, so I'm really curious to see where it's gonna end up.
yeah, for sure. I am as well, obviously. High Street number 10 is Mike's number 2. This is I haven't seen this for a while. Has this been on hiatus or have I just missed
I
it?
think so. It has. We haven't had an issue in a long time.
Yeah.
So
this-
Oh,
yeah.
go on, Brent. I mean, Mike. Well, one thing, just because I interrupted already, but Maid Cafe is also another book that's coming out tomorrow. I feel
Yeah.
like might be getting some, some
It's a
heat.
Mark
So
Spears cover on
yeah,
it. Yeah.
Okay.
so just
I had
to
heard
let
of
you
it.
guys
but-
know.
Yeah.
It's a hack and slash book.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, I'll have to check that out.
But go on, sorry.
I felt
You're talking about Hyde Street.
Hyde
Oh
Street.
yeah, Hyde Street. Yeah, the book's been on a hiatus for a while. I'm just happy to see it back. I don't even remember what it's about because it's been a while. So.
Well, Sisterhood is in this issue. That's something I
okay.
do know. So I don't know if it's tying into that other series or whatever, but yeah. It says Mr. X-Ray walks through her parlor door. So
Oh, interesting. Okay.
all right. So Punisher number 1 is mine, and that's the Benjamin Percy series. So yeah, it seems like it's picking up kind of in a similar vein, like he's still missing memories or whatever. So I'm excited to see what Benjamin Percy's gonna do with it.
Yeah, me too.
Yep, that was close. That was a close
Yeah.
one for me.
But what did land on yours, Cat, was Green Lantern number 32.
It looks like Carol and Hal are gonna get engaged. So like, there's a ring on the cover. So I'm
We'll
excited for
see.
that.
Yeah, we'll see. Who knows with Hal? It's been
That's
weird.
true.
Yeah, it's been weird.
And-
like the team
Go on.
ups and now this issue. Yeah, go ahead.
And now Kyla's gonna be the lead, so I'm really curious about that too.
Maybe
so
because
that's
they go
why-
on their honeymoon. So
Ah,
that's why
that
he's in the
makes
lead. Yeah.
But let's see a mini series of that then. I want to see them a superhero honeymoon.
All right, so my next one is Iron Man number 2, just because that I really like the first issue. I want to see if it continues to grow and get better from here. So we'll see. And we talked about Infernal Hulk earlier in the show. Mike, that's your number 4. I'm gonna catch up for this one, so we can talk about it next week. So,
Yeah, that last issue. Again, another
Yeah.
one that was close. I was just trying to be different. I'm like,
Yeah, of
a
course.
lot of these, there's a lot of good books coming out tomorrow.
Yeah,
so-
Absolutely.
so anything to add on Infernal Hulk, Mike?
No, because like you said, we talked about it already. You just got the Hulk going into this Hulkscape thing, so
Mm.
that could be interesting. Oh, and they could be looking for Charlie too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's probably gonna play a part soon.
Yeah. And then the final book we have to talk about is Cat's number 1, which is something we're all anticipating, is Amazing Spider-Man Venom Death Spiral.
I'm stoked. I really hope I like it.
Yeah. Exactly.
This
If
is
not-
it, man. This is got to be something positive for freaking Spider-Man, please. Just
Yeah.
I don't
please.
even need great. I just need to be like, it was my number 5, you know?
Yeah. Just something. Give us something. But that's it. That's all the anticipated in very fast fashion for Mike.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. We had a very long show today, over 2 hours. So
It's the
Yeah.
we haven't
longest in a
done that
while.
in quite some time, but we had a lot of great news, a lot of great discussion, and I had a blast. It was a
Me too.
really good time. Wish it just wasn't so cold. A- Anyway,
We'll hear
so
you.
guys, thank you so much for watching this evening and for sticking with us all the way through the night. If you haven't caught this show live, thank you just as much for catching it post live. And remember, guys, make sure you subscribe to our channels, Comic Book Corner 2.0, Comic Uno, only good comics. And guys, just a reminder, Kat won't be here next week, so it'll be just Brant and myself talking about
Apologize in advance.
Yep, talking about these great comics, and just want to wish you guys a happy new comic book day, and hopefully you find everything that you're looking for. So with that being said, good night all. Take care.